Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship, brought to you by LoLQHS Esports and Legion by Lenovo. I am Mitch Replays Anderson, and once again, joined by Josh Connor. How's it today, Connor?
Doing pretty good. Thanks, Mitch. I'm really excited to be here for the quarterfinals of the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship, and an exciting match between hopefully I can say these names right, Somerset College and Indooroopilly
State High School.
Yeah, State High. I hopefully got that right. So let's hope things go smooth this week.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the spiciest matchups of the top 16. Both these sides coming into this match are both tipped to win it. Obviously we had those top four teams throughout the regular season that were constantly, winning over and over again. As you can see there, we have all these amazing matchups: Mansfield Minotaurs, Indooroopilly, Somerset, McGregor, and I think the last team are Rochdale Rhinos. Those are our 4 or 5 teams that we have pretty much like from regular season. You can see how well they're playing, and that I think have a good chance of taking out the tournament overall. So this is probably the premier matchup of the finals, and hopefully this goes to all 3 games. It's going to be a very spicy match.
I would love to see a 3-game series. It'd be really fun to just watch in general, as like things go back and forth on that seesaw. We see which kind of team can deal with obviously going down a game in the first game of the series is obviously quite a detrimental thing. Not just because you've got to go win back to back, you've already suffered a bit of a mental blow getting taken out in the first round.
Exactly right. Once that tilt starts to set in, once that mentality starts to set in, it's so difficult to kind of turn back the clock and reset for another game and try and play back on a 0-0 level playing field. It's one of those things, as you're playing traditional sports, you go into halftime, you're losing by like a try or something, you go, got to reset mentally, got to get back to 0-0. But it's so hard to do that when you're at that stage of the game. But of course, once again, I'd like to announce our sponsorship and give a shout out to our sponsors, Legion by Lenovo, a premier gaming brand that is perfect for both work and play, with our stylish and minimalistic designs that fit in with any environment. If you're battling out on the Rift, hitting the books, or in the boardroom, Legion by Lenovo is perfect for you. Lenovo is excited to partner with high school esports in 2020 and supports the opportunities that young players can get through esports and being able to develop a sporting career that's not on a court or an oval. Lenovo wants to provide technology to all peoples and wants to help the students have the opportunity to compete at the highest level in esports. Legion is proud to help support the students of Queensland compete for their high schools and achieve greatness. We thank Legion by Lenovo for supporting the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. And now it's time to take a look at the Legion Lenovo Savage Player of the Week.
Ooh. But they can't take her down. There's a Rim of Vanitas misses. Curse of the Sad Mummy is available, but it won't do enough damage. There we see the killer instinct from Kaiser jumping forward. There's a lot of coming out of Yasuo. He's trying to do as much damage as he can. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to be enough, and he will fall as well. 3-1.
I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I step in and get a couple weapons, I turn to a beast when I'm repping. You are now watching the legend, so sit back and let the show begin. The pro is in, it's in, but go and get me loaded in. And no offense, boy, the suckers ain't got close to no chance. I'm gonna win, my flow is so much doper than an opiate. On my load, we go again, it's going on and on, though. You can catch me up in that jungle, I'll be going ape like Congo. Hit them points like pronto, wanna hit them up with that gun blow, that triple double Lonzo, that combo, ay. I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the
There's some exciting clips being submitted today by everyone involved. It's a fantastic play, just seeing these players provide these mechanical outplays and just watching them play better and better.
Yeah, like some of these games we saw on stream last week, and I think we're about to go into the it is the Man for Manacles, but I'm really looking forward to the next clip. I think it was the Hellbrook Hellcats. That was actually going forward into it. This one, a nice 2-shot barrage. Really well predicted to where the Volibear would be walking towards. Although we would no longer be able to see that Volibear anymore. Let's look at this Morg replays. This is absolutely exciting. Really nice binding lands.
Yeah, in the flash order, it's a perfect Fiddlestick ultimate, right? When you're a Fiddlestick player, it's the dream to get all 4 of them knocked up there. It's very rare to see that many people grouped up in a row, and it was a fantastic assassination. And, obviously, the winner for this week was that last pick by the Hellbrook Hellcats, taking out the Lenovo Savage Player of the Week with an incredible 4-men's Fiddlesticks ultimate by their jungle, who will be receiving I believe, a mechanical keyboard from Legion for that fantastic play.
Yeah, absolutely marvelous, and I think that they deserve it at that point. That was masterful. Masterful? Wonderful.
it was just like a very nice. It's a perfect situation for like Fiddlesticks or anyone with a big like blind AOE ultimate. Even a J4 would have loved a 4-man Cataclysm. That's what took out the Savage Play of the week last week, and we'll have to see exactly who takes out the play this week because we've got less and less games, less and less plays to go through as we progress further and further. So congratulations to the Hillbook Hellcats for taking this one out, and we wonder who's going to come up next week, the Lenovo Savage Play of the week.
So, how are you feeling going into this series, Replays? You obviously have a lot more experience with these teams than I do. So, where do you feel like it kind of lies in, like looking forward as we prepare to get in?
I mean, I think this game is going to be very much a battle of, who's the better individual player versus if a team can work better as a team unit individual. Before we get into the teams that we'll introduce, and we have on your blue side for game 1 today, Somerset College in the top lane, Natural Requiem in the jungle, Attempt in the mid lane, NineGod in the 80 carry role, Daddied, and in support, Ben across.
I was looking at kind of the ranks of these Somerset players, and they have a little bit of a gap on the Indooroopilly players, but luckily for them, ranks don't mean everything in these tournaments. Individual skill isn't what's sometimes important, it's team synergies. And I wonder if Indooroopilly side, I swear if I'm saying that name wrong, we'll have to see if they can sort of work it back a little bit and, play as a team rather than like individually. Like, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting to see when you look at Somerset's match history down below here, you can see they've had a very varied history. They've been losing to some teams that, haven't even made playoffs, but then they've been beating some of the better teams too. And obviously, this is their first real test against one of those top 4 opponents. And, on paper, they look like one of the hot competitors. And I think one of their biggest reasons why they haven't been competing the whole time is because they've had such a rotating roster. And, you look at attempt៌NineGod, who are clearly two of, I'd say probably the best players in the tournament, just based on solo queue rank, and even just watching him play. I remember we had a game of Somerset. Attempt was changed his name, was a different name. In the first game we saw Somerset play where he played Rengar and pretty much solo carried the game, went like 12-2-8 or something, I think, and just was ridiculously overpowered in that game. So, he was the key driving factor behind getting Somerset, a couple of wins that got them into playoffs. And now we can see if they can actually accelerate here. And now they've got their full roster together and they're actually going to be competing properly. We'll see how far they can go in this tournament.
Yeah, suddenly imagine that they have a bit of a rotating roster. That's actually really interesting to think about. That could be a chink in the armor that Indooroopilly can exploit.
Especially because, when you look at their drafting or anything like that, they haven't got any coaching set up. They have pretty much kind of got, it's kind of like they just pick for themselves. They pick whatever they want to play. And, they've been doing well. The thing is, when you've got the raw skill to, if you're a challenger player, you can play anything you want and you'll beat anyone that's, Diamond 4 or below. You don't have to have good synergy. But when it's coming against a team of 5v5s in solo queue, that's definitely the case. But when Indooroopilly, who aren't no slashers, they've got, a decent platinum roster of, quite good players. And obviously Indra are, top 4 throughout the season. And those top 4 teams have been trading blows back and forth. And, they are, the kind of team we've been looking at to, maybe contest. And they did very well last year as well. So obviously good system of players that are Indooroopilly, and they can have good internal scrims, etc. As you see, look at their lineup now. In the top lane, you got chadyou in the jungle, Pop the Smoke in the mid lane, lionroar in the bot lane, iTzSweeTz, and in support, The Last Dance. Interesting names from Indooroopilly.
I like them. That's some fun names. Little bit. I wonder where Pop the Smoke came from, but
maybe a Graves one trick.
Yeah, maybe a Graves one trick. I'd love to see a Graves.
I mean, speaking about Graves, especially in the jungle, one of the strongest junglers at the moment, I think that's kind of where this game will be decided, that jungle mid lane matchup. lionroar obviously is the highest ranked player on Indooroopilly's side and is probably the leader they look towards in playing towards these games. And of course, that mid jungle synergy is so important, especially if you look at Somerset's team, where they have their obviously mid and jungle as the two diamond players. One of them's much higher ranked player, like been potentially has gotten up to Grandmaster and Challenger before. So it's going to be that mid jungle synergy, and whoever wins that mid jungle 2v2, I think is pretty much going to take out the game. Not discounting the side lanes, of course. The 80 carry support and top lane are all going to be very incremental in deciding who wins this series. But I think especially lionroar versus NineGod in the mid lane is going to be the key matchup we're going to be looking towards today.
Yeah, I actually wonder how they're going to draft around this, knowing that they are potentially like outskilled in their lanes and obviously with jungle. I wonder if they'll pick something a bit more defensive, maybe go for trying to hold out for as long as they can, give as little as possible, instead of going for the aggressive picks and trying to like force mistakes, but rather capitalize on the few mistakes that NineGod or attemptၤ, or even the other laners will make from Somerset.
Yeah, I mean, especially because Somerset has got a very decent roster around these two high-ranked players as well. Daddied, Benacross, and Natural Requiem, all high silver or mid-gold. So, I mean, not like, obviously, high-ranked players, but, you know, definitely good enough to stand up and work in a team environment. When you get to that kind of gold, platinum level, you're a good enough player that if you're playing with a challenger, you're not so bad that you're going to be anchoring them. You kind of know how to play around them, and playing with an influential voice like that, you know, in the team helps you so much in playing the game properly, right? You know, if you can understand what a challenger player says, I need to rotate here, or this vision's here, blah, blah, blah. You know, you kind of, at that gold platinum level, they kind of start to understand what it is. They might just not think about it while they're playing. And when you have a player that is, you know, telling that, you just end up performing better versus someone who's lower ranked, like a bronze player who just doesn't even understand what a rotation is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like a really good factor to think about just going into games, because think about the whole fact that everyone on the team can benefit from the knowledge of those high-rated Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, Challenger players. Because while the Challenger player may be like resetting or something like that, they can have a look around the rest of the map and have an influence on it just from a voice perspective. In that backline, they could inspire creative plays, or like making sure that all the team members are doing the right thing at the moment. They can have such good objective control because that's what they can focus on just while they're able to multitask playing the game.
Yeah, precisely. It's all about that ability to show that knowledge. And it's so important that, you know, in these 5v5 environments, you have really good communication. And I think that's going to be the main area where Indro can kind of look to break down Somerset. I think, you know, as a much more coordinated team than Somerset, so on the Rift, they have this benefit from the knowledge. But in the draft phase, I think Indooroopilly, every time I've seen them on stream, they've come up with quite clear, concise drafts with a very easy to execute win condition. Which I think is very important. We've seen that, you know, last week, both the sides drafted compositions that didn't have a very clear win condition and a very quick way or an obvious way to win a game. And as a result, we saw kind of longer, drawn-out games that were a little bit more difficult and a little bit kind of scrappy. And I think if Indooroopilly can, you know, dominate Somerset in the draft, get the champions they want to play, get a very strong identified win condition, I think they can definitely, you know, if they play around that properly and execute correctly, I think even though they're lower ranked players and there are definitely areas for Somerset to attack, I think Indooroopilly, if they draft a concise enough composition, will be able to take out this game.
I agree with you entirely on that one. I actually really want to see, as you said, like an easy to execute wombo combo draft. I would personally love to see like maybe like an MF get picked for iTzSweeTz. Hopefully they play a little bit of MF. Because MF is like really strong right now. I'm pretty sure she's like an S tier 80 carry. Pick some. Then again, picking her early in the draft is kind of dangerous because something like a Braum get picked up by Benarox to almost entirely cancel that out.
Yeah, exactly right. Those, you know, high impact carries that have those team fight potentials, exactly what you need when you've got one or two carries on the enemy team. They're going to be popping off. Because I think NineGod, he's a jungle main anyways. He's actually a little bit off-road here. So, you know, not playing in his primary role. I think mid to his second year, I've seen a couple of Twisted Fate games on his account, stuff like that, which, you know, aren't particularly those carry champions where you look towards attemptၤ in the jungle here for Somerset, who plays a lot of the Rengars, Rek'Sais, Graves, these solo carry champions. And if you can draft, you know, a concise team comp with something like the MF, you know, and I move some big team fight control CC where you got to fight 5-on-5. A champion like Rengar really struggles taking on all 5 members by himself if he's the only Feb on his team, and, you know, doesn't really function without that concise synergy, you know. But if, you know, Indooroopilly aren't working together and, you know, they're getting caught in rotations between their lanes and they're not warding properly and, you know, pushing up too far and getting caught out, that's what's gonna allow the assassin champions that Somerset's gonna bring out to, you know, start snowballing, start getting a couple of kills, and these high elo players that are able to punish mistakes that the Indooroopilly players might be making on an individual level is, you know, might be the difference.
Yeah, certainly. I think we'll be starting in just a moment, looking at that timer on the top of your screens. So let's see how draft kind of plays out. Let's see if we can kind of see. Let's see if we can gauge where both of these teams are heading for as we like maybe go through bans quickly.
Yeah, precisely. And I think, yeah, this draft is going to be very crucial in kind of laying out the series as a whole. You know, once we kind of see what these teams' strategies are when they come to this game, and obviously been preparing about what's going to win versus the enemy team. And, you know, especially given the fact that this is around exam time too for these students. They're just coming back to school, and, we're kind of getting towards a pointy end of the season, and it's very difficult for these players to kind of balance that skill commitment with also the commitment of League of Legends, and obviously competing here with obviously the rest of inter-school sports being off. It's obviously a little bit less focus with COVID-19 being able to stay at home and stuff like that. So you might see this draft not have that same strategy and preparation that teams would like because of the fact that they just haven't had enough time, because these year 12 students are too busy preparing for their final exams for semester 2. And as a result, have really got to make sure they have time to prepare and sink their teeth into this game.
Yeah, you just reminded me of my mid-year exams in year 12. I don't want to think about those.
Yeah, I mean, I know, especially I've been talking. Obviously, I went to Somerset when I was younger, and I know a couple of players on the roster from the pastoral care system we have there at Somerset. And one of them has been talking about he wants to be a doctor, so he's had a lot of time studying towards the exams, and it's so difficult for him to balance playing and studying as well. So of course, that's why I think if Indooroopilly have prepared for this draft and Somerset haven't, or vice versa, you could see a large discrepancy in this first game. And we're going to have to see how these teams adjust on the fly between the first and second game, depending if it goes their way or not.
Yeah, I would really like to. I would really hope that Indooroopilly has prepared going into this. They've had a week to know, prepare for these players to come into it, see who they're going to be up against. As we kind of pull into draft, will we see kind of how well they've prepared? What are they going to ban out? Are they going to ban out comfort? Are they going to ban out meta? I'm
going to expect them to target attemptṳ and NineGod here and target specific champions. We saw, obviously attemptษ์plays Graves, Rek'Sai. You see it banned out now. Rengar was what he was just popped off on in the last time we saw them play. He plays, a lot of those meta junglers, at least 2, all champions that can really start snowballing and start taking out a game. So, I'd expect Indooroopilly to kind of target the pool of these high-ranked players and kind of balance it a little bit better. And we'll have to see exactly what Somerset are going to do. I think probably target out more general wombo combo champs that are going to assist in the team fight strategy that Indooroopilly are going to play together as a team.
Yeah. So we have Indooroopilly on blue side and Somerset on red side, everybody. So first of all, bans coming out replays. We see Varus, obviously targeted towards attemptษ์. Caitlyn, and in response we see Wukong and Yasuo for the moment.
Yeah, Wukong Yasuo is one of the combos that's been popping up a little bit more. We saw it quite prevalently used in the mid-season cup there. The champion, the recent tournament between the LPL and LCK. And of course, the knock-up that Wukong brings, being able to ult twice, definitely assists the last press potential for the Yasuo. Interesting to see only one jungle ban, though, Morgana, Caitlyn, the other bans for Indooroopilly. So attemptษ์is going to be able to grab a couple of champions himself, but maybe, obviously, the first pick here could take away something like the Graves, which is a very high priority pick. And, further into draft to see exactly what strategy they go for.
Yeah, we will see. I do like the Olaf ban coming out of Somerset here. That does open up a couple of things. So that does close off a couple of combos from Indooroopilly here. Meaning that I have a feeling that attemptษ์may be wanting to put out something along the lines of the Jarvan.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you could pick up something like a Draven, or I'm expecting something more like maybe Elise or Graves. Even too. Graves is a very good champion, especially now we've got the Ornn locked in here from natural Requiem. Means that top side is going to be obviously a very safe lane, going to look to scale, and that means looks like they'll be trying to maybe put their strategy more towards this bot mid side and leave Ornn and Island up in the top lane.
No, I didn't actually talk about it, but we see the Syndra pick, first pick lock in from Indooroopilly here. I assume that's going over towards lionroar, but there's a Graves in response. We spoke about it. Graves picked up, and I wonder just maybe if Yuumi is going to get picked up later down the track for Somerset here.
Yeah, Yuumi would be a fantastic pick, especially if you pair it something like that. Ezreal, Graves Yuumi is such a fantastic combo. Ezreal Yuumi is a fantastic combo as well. And interestingly, you talked about that Syndra first pick. It's a very good first pick because it's very flexible. Obviously, not as much anymore. I was going to say Syndra is very good at flexing to that 80k role as well as the mid lane. One of the most dominant mid laners with lane priority, of course. In bot lane functions very well too, but with the Vayne locked in, unless of course it's a Vayne top to counter this Ornn, which could be a very interesting strategy we could see pulled out. It's been pulled out in the LEC by G2, of course. Who else would pull out a Vayne top? But it's a very strong laner that counters Ornn, which is one of the strongest champions in the game.
Yeah, what would you pick for the rest of your lineup if you were to go to do something like that? For a moment, wait on that. Kassadin lock in against the Syndra. How do you feel about that presence in the mid lane?
I think it's actually quite a good pick. The Kassadin pick here One, helps facilitates Graves' early game, right? Graves wants to farm quite a lot. And I think the one issue this Kassadin pick brings up is that they need to have an aggressive bot lane. They need to draft a bot lane with a little bit of priority. Yuumi Ezreal is kind of giving up priority a little bit too much in the early game, so I don't know if they can go for that. Maybe something like a Yuumi Senna or a Yuumi Aphelios, or something with a bit more range to poke out the Vayne and Punisher for playing. They know what bot lane they're up against. Vayne is obviously very short range AD carry, if it's going to the bot lane, that is. Can be punished very heavily by something with a little bit long range. Maybe even I would say Caitlyn Morgana, but that's of course been banned away. But something that can poke her out and force her down, so Graves has a lane to play through. Otherwise, Graves could find himself in a position where both his top and mid are losing, and he's got to try to find a way to get some farm, and the enemy jungle will pop the smoke. If chadyou and lionroar, or of course Syndra is going to have priority against his Kassadin, can help assist him in invading and shutting down Graves when he's trying to get farming early on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them trying to invade against attempt early on, try to set him behind. Syndra will most likely have lane priority and be able to help out the jungler if they go for the invade. I do like a whole bunch of jungle bans coming out for Pop the Smoke though by Somerset. They are really targeting him as probably the influential player who's still on the map, because no one's going to be able to win against an Ornn top lane. There's very little champions that can actually dominate the Ornn and set him far behind, and he just wants to sit back and scale anyway. So
yeah, exactly. But again, we see a fantastic lock in here. The Varus just being locked in by daddied. That's exactly what we need. A champion that provides that hardcore poke. I think Varus is probably the best AD carry available at the moment, especially if you go towards the lethality build. He just does so much damage in the early game with the poke from his arrows. Of course, just decimate this Vayne and Thresh, and has the range as well to stay away from the engage of the Thresh. A little bit of mobile, but of course has that CC itself. And it'd be very interesting to see how daddied pilots this champion.
Yeah, I'm actually really shocked to see the Varus come out. I do like it personally. I love the chains of corruption that can come out. Look, think about how short range Vayne is. How Shyvana, obviously that Shyvana pick right now, she's melee range practically. Shen, Syndra, Thresh, they're all within that chains of corruption range, and they can all get locked down from that single ultimate. And think about the follow-up from their team. That could come out after even the call of a forward god from the Ornn. That is an amazing combo. And I don't think it's too hard to execute going forward in the team fights. But I really wonder what support they'll use to kind of fill it in.
There you go. It's the Karma locked in. That's a very nice, concise comp. Similar to the Yuumi in the fact it provides that AoE heals, speed ups, and shields. Obviously not the same Graves Yuumi combo we're looking for, but again, a very safe pick. A lot of good poke as well in the lane. And I actually do like the comp that's come out of Somerset. We did kind of knock them in the pregame and saying, they generally not known for good synergized 5-man drafts, and it's more about individually what do they want to play in and what kind of synergistically do they want to go towards. But they've picked a very, very team fight oriented comp that has got Varus. Hopefully he goes lethality. Obviously he could go DPS too. It's kind of doesn't matter. But if you go lethality Varus, you've got Grave as well that does a ridiculous amount of damage. And of course, late game Kassadin is going to come through and just make this Vayne obsolete, because obviously, when you think about a Vayne pick, you go, oh, Vayne late game is going to destroy tanks, right? So what have they done? They've picked no tanks and picked a lot of damage, and I don't think Vayne's going to have a very fun game.
Yeah, she's not going to have a lot of fun at all. There is obviously the Shen who has the Stand United, who can protect, the Vayne a little bit, but I just don't think that's going to be enough. Maybe he has to use it to save the Syndra, but look at that. Look at the CC Wombo combo and how far away it could come from. Like the Call of the Forge God I was speaking about earlier, that can come through your back line, and it's straight down your team. There's nothing you can do to really stop it. There's no Wind Wall, no Braum Shield, anything like that would stop it. But the best option you have, flashing, cleanse, I guess, and something along those lines. And there's only so much you can do with that.
Yeah, I mean, especially given the fact that they have Indooroopilly have drafted such a low-range team. Interesting to see as well, they've gone for the Shyvana in the jungle. I thought they would have opted for something a little bit more aggressive, maybe like a Lee Sin or a Jarvan even itself. Something to kind of engage a fight and get it started, because that's the biggest thing I can see lacking from Indooroopilly's comp. They don't have that go button. Of course, they have Thresh Hook, right? But it's maybe not the most reliable form of engage. But obviously, it's definitely something. But something like a Jarvan, he would have really tied their comp together and allowed them to have an early game option. With Shyvana, of course, another hard farming jungler, it's going to be a race to the farm between, or both these early game junglers are going to be farming Graves and Shyvana are going to be pretty much in their jungle for the majority of the early game, getting as much CS as possible, clearing out those jungle camps. And I'm not sure if Shyvana or Graves has faster clear speed. I know Shyvana's a fantastic power farmer, But I don't know if the recent nerfs to Graves are going to affect his AoE ability. Obviously, the Q means he might have a little bit of a harder time with stuff like the Raptor Camp.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shiv's clear time is maybe about like 10-15 seconds quicker than Graves.
Okay.
Especially if she's only going for like a one-side clear into a gank, that would be done way faster. I have a feeling that Pop Smoke is going to opt for like maybe like a really early gank mid lane, try to catch out NineGod before he gets level 6, and he can just Rift Rock away, at least burn a flash.
I think the mid lane here, of course, we talked about coming into the game, the mid jungle is going to be really important. Of course, the Syndra here really makes this mid jungle a lot more difficult to fight. Of course, Kassadin, a very passive laner and not particularly active in the early game. However, I would like to say that with the Graves, though, the Graves does a lot of damage early game. And as much as he's not known for early game ganking, he is quite an effective ganker. He does a lot of damage in the early game. And I think in the 2v2, I think Somerset still win.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking the same thing with you there. Just thinking about it in general, I was just thinking Syndra, Shyvana, they both have like pretty hefty like cooldowns on their abilities. So once they've kind of unleashed everything, the only real damage that's going to come out is a little bit of autos from Shyvana. Syndra autos don't do much, so Graves, Kassadin, who will have that greater DPS and like quicker rotations, will most likely be able to win the extended fight.
Yeah, and I mean the other interesting thing too is the fact that what Pop the Smoke decides to build on the Shyvana. Of course, recently it's been very popularized that of course, AP Shyvana is able to one-shot people with the I don't know what that ability is called, but AP Shyvana is pretty much from the way you build her. Whenever I see a Shyvana, I don't think I've seen the classic 80 on-hit tanky version of Shyvana in a while. So obviously with that double AP, there's a lot of magic damage coming out of that mid-jungle duo, and means Kassadin and Graves can very easily rush some early Merc treads, which I think would be advisable anyways, right, against a lot of CC. Having the ability to keep doing DPS is a little bit more important than that heavy magic pen or attack speed maybe that Graves would like to go for usually. But I can definitely see both these sides heavily focused towards bot lane 4v4s or 5v5s. Of course, up on the top side, you've got the Shen Ornn matchup, which is going to be a very passive matchup between those two champions. They're not particularly aggressive, and it'll mostly be a bit of a wet paper towel fight up there. Both of them. I mean, I probably favor. I don't know if I favor Shen or Ornn, because of course Shen's quite good into tanks. Obviously, the ability to pull through the the Spirit Blade. If he's able to pull that through the tank, it gets a lot of bonus on hit max health damage. And of course, the ability to resist autos with his Spirit's Refuge. So, Shen has a lot of tools to deal with the Ornn here, but Ornn also has a lot of damage to deal back. So I'm pretty sure they'll probably do even damage to each other. It's actually quite a funny, it's not one of those tank lanes where there's no kills. It's not like Cho'Gath Maokai where they're both too tanky to do anything. There is potential for both of these champions to make plays, and of course both have very good gank setup for these two junglers. So you could see maybe some action towards the top side, but traditionally they are quite weak-sided top laners, and their big impact comes in the ability to more macro-oriented plays. Of course, Ornn traditionally going for Spellbook, so have shorter cooldown on that teleport, and of course Shen having the Stand United, able to join his team anywhere around the map. So I can see definitely a very heavy focus towards this bot side. Of course, Kassadin wants to roam. Syndra is going to have early priority, and both these junglers are very happy to help support this bot lane, because if Vayne gets rolling and if Vayne starts getting a little bit fed, you can see her really start to take over a game. And just if she gets an item or up or two than everyone else in the game, she'll pretty much delete the Ornn before he's able to get much CC off. Kassadin won't be as much of a threat if she has enough lifesteal, and Thresh is peeling her enough for her to be able to get her damage off and kite away. It's also, a very aggressive side on the side of Somerset too. Daddied and Benacross here on the Karma and Varus have a lot of poke in the early game. And of course, Vayne being short range means she's going to be very susceptible to this poke. And, as a result, they could look for some 4-man dives. If Kassadin ever gets a little bit of lane priority, Ornn looks at TP in, Graves could be down there too, and it's just a big wombo combo 5-on-2. And under the tower, there's not much that the Vayne and the Thresh will be able to do.
Yeah, so there's a lot of dive pressure coming out, as you were talking about. And it looks like we're pretty much into the game right now. So, match 1 between Indooroopilly and Somerset. Let's get into this.
And before we do, or not before we do, but so looking at these two drafts, what's your prediction for the match?
I think I'm going to have to go with Somerset. I feel like they drafted the much easier to execute combo. They've got that team fight in the Call of the Forge God, the Cats of the Graves, the Chains of Corruption as well. I just believe they've got the much easier to execute. They can get those picks out. They've got the Varus poke. I feel like Somerset are going to have really good objective control moving forwards, and I just feel like the Indooroopilly lineup is a bit of a mix and match. Like a Frankenstein's monster kind of team comp.
Yeah, for sure. Given the fact that we can see now Varus has got the Arcane Comet, means it will be definitely a lethality Varus, so a lot of poke coming down the bot lane, and of course Vayne recognizing that and going for the Doran's shield as her first item. And you can see the Electrocute and the Karma. I'd expect something more like a Summon Airy maybe, as we see a little bit of fight early on in the jungle.
Yeah, Gray's maybe in a bit of a position here. He loses a huge chunk of health. He might actually be unable to back if they keep a little bit of aggression on him. But it looks like he might be able to do that and sneak away, but he's going to start his clear with a little bit less health.
And you can see both these junglers starting topside here. Of course, we've talked about it the last few games the last few weeks that, it's very essential as a jungler to actually plan out your path early on and path towards a lane you want to influence first and foremost. So, of course, we talked about it already. The Thresh Vayne versus the Lucian Karma is going to be probably the lane where we look towards. Early game-wise, you're going to be finding a lot of ganks. Of course, this mid lane Kassadin is going to be playing quite passively, so not a lot of opportunity. Maybe see Shyvana come for some dives. But yeah, both these junglers are going to path towards this bot lane and probably end up there around the same time. So it's going to be very interesting to see which team pulls off the first gank.
Yeah, I can't wait for it personally. First dragon is a cloud dragon, about 3 minutes away. I would love to see Somerset go for that. That'd actually really be helpful for their team comps. Like that Chains of Corruption cooldown, the Call of the Forge, and a really nice hook lands on the Karma for a moment. iTzSweeTz steps up, get a huge chunk of damage out. That is really nice for Indooroopilly's bot lane for a moment.
Yeah, and that's one of the key things when you pick a Karma and the Varus. Of course, you don't have that tankiness in that bot lane in particular. So, a Thresh hook could be that death sentence quite literally. Both these champions, very low health pools, and, Karma, before she kind of starts getting her mana and items ramped up, doesn't provide that same healing and shielding that you'd want her to do so. And, as a result, if this Thresh can land a nice combo, Lantern the Shyvana in, it's going to be very easy double kill, if they're able to get the summoners off these two bot lane champions.
Yeah, and I really like how Somerset are playing that lane. Even though they took a bad trade, they got level 2 first, and they really just pushed in and bullied Indooroopilly on the tower.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be kind of the way this lane goes. Of course, Vayne, that's one of her biggest weaknesses as a short-range AD carry. Only 550 range or 525 range, I think she has with her on her kit. 525, right, compared to the 550 from Varus, plus the ridiculous range on his Qs. Means that, yeah, it's just going to be so difficult for him to actually... for the Vayne to actually contest and farm, and unless Thresh lands these hooks, there's going to be so much poke coming down from these two bot lane champions.
Yeah, I will say Shyvana is on the bot side of the map, clearing her Krugs right now, so she may look to gank that bot side, especially with how Somerset is pushed up right now. Although
exactly,
it looks like it's coming straight back out.
Interesting to see Graves as well, already full cleared his jungle, left the Grump up, but is going to look for a bit of an invade where the Shyvana's completely full cleared. So there you go, that's the answer to that question. Shyvana's clear much faster than the Graves, but good to see this positioning from the jungler, already getting in, getting some knowledge. He now knows Shyvana's cleared all of her camps, and will be pathing up towards that top side. So, it's just that difference. After he clears his camps, he just knows to, go and look for information. I want to see if I can fight. Knows he's kind of strong enough to 1v1 her too, and not too threatened by this AP Shyvana early on. And it's just that difference you can see in the level of play between, a high rank player and a low rank player.
Yeah, and I really like attemptၤ sitting back there, just recalling away in that bush. Like, he's there for his team presence if they need it. Because, if that Thresh lands a hook, if he tries to engage in there for the moment, he steps up a little bit too close, getting caught by a smoke screen. Maybe he'll get CC'd out a little bit too much of a slow. That's actually a huge chunk of damage coming out. Forced to flash away. Lands a nice death sentence into the pulls Karma just outside the tower. No, just inside. Forces the Varus to heal to keep her alive. Her flash burned as well. That was dangerous.
That was a very nice gank there from attemptၤ. Unfortunately, losing more stunners in that game, going for that dive onto the Thresh. And unfortunately, Varus did miss that the volley of arrows there. That would have... Oh, no, that's Ash's ability. I don't even know what's the W. Oh, anyways, the Varus W there provides that slow, and if he was able to land that onto the Thresh, it would have been much more difficult for him to get away, but was able to do so. The heal from Vayne, very clever there from iTzSweeTz to realize that Thresh wasn't in immediate danger and didn't need to use that cooldown. So good to see that summoner spell still up, but of course the heal and the flash down for the bot lane duo, so could potentially look for a Shyvana gank coming down there, and might be a little bit more difficult as Kassadin now has level 6 available.
Oh my, he is definitely starting to scale up. He's going to start really pushing in this Syndra. Like the lane pressure now is going to be a bit more even as they try to further in, get a good chance to roam out. So hopefully we'll get to see that sooner or later, as the dragon has spawned, and looks like Graves is kind of in position to maybe look for something.
Yeah, and a nice CS lead too here by the Kassadin, which is something you don't usually see when you're, that weak.
Oh my goodness, Shyvana getting caught out for the moment. Looks like she might get taken down. One more order from Graves is all that's needed. First blood falls. Now Kassadin is stuck under the tower. Does Syndra have the unleashed power? Yes, she does, but she has no mana. As she walks into Graves and Graves and Kassadin herself, forced to flash away because of over-aggression, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, just that flash away to make sure the Graves couldn't follow her down and take her away. Of course, flash still available on this Graves, and that's a fantastic advantage there for Somerset, and especially for this Kassadin who wants to try and get ahead. And man, it's going to be so much more difficult for Syndra to contest in this lane now that kill's gone over to the Graves early. That snowball's going to start for these, more scaling champions, and man, this flash down for Syndra means she's going to be very, very vulnerable to the next game, or even a 1v1 from Kassadin.
Somerset already trying to take advantage and get that Cloud Dragon. They got the bot wave pushed in. The bot lane is moving up to help. Mid lane is kind of a little bit even slightly pushed in, but they've secured the first dragon, and the second one is going to be a mountain dragon. So,
that's a good thing.
Interesting soul, either infernal or ocean. Both
are two best souls. Yeah, both are two best souls, and both, going to be very relevant for this game. Ocean, of course, going to mean whichever team gets it is going to have that longevity in the fights, and of course, Infernal means the damage on these two team fight comps is going to be so much higher, and both these sides are going to want those souls quite aggressively. So we're expecting to see some fights around the dragons now.
Oh, replays may need to wait a moment. It looks like Syndra's coming in for a bit of a gang bot lane. Nice play from Thresh, pulling Karma back a little bit. Does it have sentence? No, it does not. But maybe the scan of a weak will once the ball is dropped. Yes, it will. Sending Karma straight to her death into the base. But look at this. Kassadin has made his way down with the teleport call of the forward as well from Ornn. Getting knocked back, knocking up Thresh. Knocking up. That's a nice collateral damage from Graves. He starts taking down some of these kills. Double kill for Graves. Triple kill as he takes out the Thresh as well. And that is a huge amount of gold going over to attempt. And that is a lot. That's huge for Somerset there. They're getting their carries gold. And it looks like NineGod is looking for more.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible play down in this bot side here. That's what we kind of wanted to talk about from both these sides. It was about that heavy roam pressure, heavy impact down in this bot lane, trying to get there, that lane ahead. This is going to be the lane that we said was going to be the most impact, the most varied, and you can see fantastic reactions there from attempt៌and NineGod to instantly teleport down. Natural Requiem too, hesitated at no time at all to get all 5 members down there in that bot lane to take out both that bot lane carriers, of course. 3 kills going over the Shen stand United coming out as well, and attempt์being in the right place at the right time to anticipate the roam, to counter gank the whole brigade from Indooroopilly to come and try to take out this Somerset bot lane. Of course, Benacross did go down, burning the flash from earlier, trying to take down the Thresh, but that same flash that was burnt was the reason why those chains of corruption spread onto everyone from daddied and allowed attempt์to set up the multiple man end of the line.
Oh, that was absolutely fantastic. End of line collateral damage did so much. Basically wiped the entire health bars clear of Indooroopilly. My mouth is really not having fun right now, but I am really interested to see how these teams kind of play it out now. We did see the Rift Herald get taken by Pop the Smoke up in the top lane as a bit of a response to the Dragon and the kills going down bot lane. So we will have to see what kind of comes out of that. Will they be able to make it sort of even?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, that Rift Herald is something that accelerates early game gold, and given the fact that Indooroopilly already, about 1,000 gold down, and this Graves is 4-0, only 10 minutes into this game, means they're going to have to try and make a very impactful Rift Herald play. Maybe towards a bot lane, they could potentially look for something
again.
Here.
We've got another Syndra and teleport coming in from Shyvana there as well. Here comes Syndra from above. Are they going to get these kills? Syndra, he's got one lionroar. Getting a quick kill on the Varus, followed up by the kill onto Karma, and that is really nice. Unfortunately, it looks like Karma does manage to take down the last dance of Thresh.
Yeah, a bit of an issue there from a Somerset bot lane, of course, pushing up a little bit too far without the support of their team. Of course, all the teleports and cooldowns were burnt for Somerset in our last fight. Now, Indooroopilly said it's our turn to rock up with all 4 members strong and take down what we can. And of course, the bot lane from Somerset falls there. So good reaction play from Indooroopilly. Didn't sit back, didn't wait. And let Somerset get away with that big play. Punish the fact that these teleports were on cooldown. Punish the fact that the summoner spells were on cooldown, and pulled up a result for them. And this is what we want to see. Both these sides just going back and forth all game long.
Wait, is Graves seriously just walking straight into Thresh? Death sentence misses. Vayne trying to get in. Does she not have contempt? No, she has no mana to do it. Now we can see a bit of a 1v2 here. Comes Karma being talked about that. Graves a little bit ignited tower shot, not going to be enough. Maybe he'll burn out. He's so low, but it looks like he will just barely survive.
That was very aggressive play from the Graves, and of course, baited out a summoner spell from the Thresh for just an ultimate. So overall, you'll take that as a win for Somerset, and it's just that opportunity to know that these are my limits and I can go for this play, even though, when it looks like on paper, you just looked at that and went, what is he doing? Why is he taking that fight? But he just obviously knows his limits of his champion so well, knows what he can do, knows the Vayne has no matter, and when you watch these higher level players, play a game, you just see the things that they think about that you don't even realize, not even, making sense that this is, happening, and fantastic play from the Graves there.
I'd actually really like to talk about what happened with the Somerset bot lane there. I have a feeling that maybe they thought they were in a better position than they were because they got so many kills, but it was the Graves who got all the gold from that fight a couple of minutes prior. Yeah,
exactly, and that Warrior enchant completed already is such a huge power spike for him. Looks like he's maybe going towards a Blade of the Ruin King next. I'm not sure what the longsword and the dagger are going to build into. Because usually you go...
there's the chain of corruption from Varus. Looks like Thresh is definitely caught out. Graves is there as well. This could be really bad. iTzSweeTz may get caught out. Actually, looks like everything's happened all over map. Hero getting caught in mid lane, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Just aggressive plays overall. Herald's going to have no assist threat either. So the Dragon, though, being picked up by attemptၤ while all of the Rift Heralds getting dropped in the mid lane and everything, all of the map is happening. So we see... once this Kassadin gets his ultimate, he's just so much better than the Syndra in this lane.
That was a really unfortunate dark side coming out. Called before, got it from Ornn, knocked into Syndra from Vayne. I think she's got the standing on her as well, but she gets taken down before it can land. But she does get the trade kill and a big shutdown onto Graves.
Yeah, I mean, equal shutdowns for both sides. But
Shyvana jumping in. Tower shot will finish off Natural Requiem. And that is really nice. I wonder if we're going to see Thresh step up, maybe get a cheeky flay in there, pull the Kassadin back, but I don't think so for the moment.
No, probably not. Also, the Kassadin R is up and available, so pretty able to escape out of that quickly. But you can see there a good aggressive play by Somerset, but a little bit too aggressive from attemptၤ, going for that dive, of course. Good roam down from Natural Requiem, but it means his top lane at tower will have to pay the price for that. Plate's going over to chadyou for Indooroopilly, and obviously that shutdown was equal. Both Syndra and Graves were both 4-0, so trading shutdown for shutdown probably wasn't the worst thing, and the gold's probably better on the Graves than it is on the Syndra in terms of late game scaling. But of course, Natural Requiem going down there means it was a very favorable trade for Indooroopilly, and a good reaction out of Pop the Smoke to come and counter gank after that play was made by Somerset.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to how the game unfolds over the next couple of minutes. We see the game is in a very even state, less than 1,000 gold difference for moment replays. But I will say this could turn on its head as this game goes on longer. We've got the Ornn items on Somerset that could be being built from I think the Ornn will get that level 13, level 14 by what 23, 24 minutes in the game. So then he'll just really scale up. Yeah. Oh, Graves in the middle, aggressive here, going straight onto Syndra. There's a GLP to get some distance. Unleashed power coming out. He's really low. He'll flash after. It looks like he's going to get the kill onto lionroar for the moment. Now there's Shyvana over the wall. Nice flavor breath coming out. Shen trying to get away. Misses the taunt belly, but managed to get the auto call of the Forge God. Knocking shot now. Shyvana trying to run away from Kassadin. Kassadin gets that nice ref walk onto chadyou. Can't get that nice next body sphere on. He's under tower, diving forward, supposed to get a kill. He tries to get away, but unfortunately, he will fall to Pop the Smoke.
Very aggressive plays from Somerset coming out of it. Natural Requiem could go down to the next Flame Breath.
Yeah, looks like he might. One more, and yep, he will go down to the Shyvana E. Now we see a nice change of corruption come out of Varus, as it misses, iTzSweeTz getting up, trying to get straight into Somerset bot lane's face. He's got that Condemn coming off cooldown in a moment. Flay will knock him up, Condemned into a wall, and another kill goes over to this Vayne. Getting 2 quick kills in the bot lane. Really, really good work by Indooroopilly turning this game around so far.
Yeah, good reactions from Indooroopilly. I was going to bring up a point saying Somerset are the only ones making plays, and even though they're going quite evenly, the fact that they're making the plays means they have tempo control, but Indra have just swooped it around there, mistake down in the bot lane, pushing up too aggressively and getting caught out, and of course, that fight in the jungle, a little bit over-aggressive there from attemptṳ, and man, this game is going back and forth. It's going to be a wild one.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see that, because that does mean that these teams are potentially a little bit more even than we anticipated. Maybe we'll get to see a 3-game series, but for now, it looks like we might see Vayne get taken out by Graves. I love seeing this. Graves is standing up in her face, so she can't condemn him backwards. Stand United coming out from 10. Looks like he's going to try to jump onto Graves with that Shadow Dash. Nice taunt. There's a teleport coming in from everyone. Everyone's joining the fight right now. Kassadin is there. Ornn is around as well. He's making his way down. There's a nice kill from Pop Smoke coming onto Karma. Chains of Corruption is not available. But oh my, this game is certainly chaotic.
I mean, all 5 members here from Indooroopilly, again, attemptṳ getting punished for going too aggressive, trying to go for these kills. He just needs to relax a little bit, take some farm, stop trying to make these aggressive plays. And man, this Shyvana from Pop the Smoke is coming out big. Level, 11 here already on the Shyvana, higher level than her own mid laner, in fact. And she's actually, in the early game, I thought Graves was obviously doing a lot more, but as the game's progressed, once Shyvana hit that level 6, this AP started to ramp up, and she's doing a lot of damage when she's coming into these fights and picking off the extras when it comes to all these fights. And Somerset's looking quite good, but I mean, I still in the 5v5s, I expect them to win, but the Shyvana is going to be a lot to deal with.
She certainly will, and especially if she manages to get on top of daddied's Varus. That is going to be really dangerous for him, because he is such a squishy target for her to jump on top of. If a nice Dark Sphere or Scatter the Weak lands, he's basically dead on top of that.
Especially the fact that he's gone for this aggressive lethality build means he'll be a lot squishy. As you see, the Infernal Dragon has spawned up, will be the soul for this game to see the first big team fight maybe around this objective.
That's a really nice flame breath. Shyvana takes out half of Varus' health in one move. Call of the Forge God getting thrown out. Individual, there's a nice chain of corruption out from Varus as well. Look how low Karma is in the backline, getting taken out by iTzSweeTz. iTzSweeTz is basically moving straight through the Somerset lineup, but they move on to Kassadin. Oh my goodness, NineGod does so much damage into the stopwatch, trying to buy time for himself. Death Sentence lands onto Ornn, but maybe this could be the end for Thresh, who narrowly escaped getting that quick kill. But now we see NineGod trying to catch up. Death Sentence was a bit thrown out weirdly, but will this be the end for the Indooroopilly lineup as they try to take out the rest of them? Somerset only down to 1 member on each side, and it looks like both of them are gonna say, you know what? Let's just call it even, call it a draw and back away.
Big fights from both sides there, but a lot of shutdown gold going on to NineGod in this Kassadin, who is only going to get stronger and stronger the further he gets into this game. Of course, hasn't completed that Seraphs yet, but has already got 7 stacks on his Rod of Ages. So the later this game goes, he's going to be ramping up and doing a lot more damage. But man, these fights are explosive, and what a fantastic series between these two sides. So closely matched.
Yeah, and look at this. We see something going for the third dragon. I was talking about how they look like they have the objective control in their draft, in their lineup, and how they've been playing so well so far. They got the first 2, no contest. But now this one seems like they got a little bit of competition for it. And I don't think Indooroopilly will be handing it away so easily like before.
No, and of course, Vayne's back here. Shyvana's around too. So the ultimate for Shyvana just barely coming up to cooldown.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Attempt gets a quick kill. Shyvana smites away the dragon. Call of the Forge got big knockup, but the Shyvana old open wall will cancel that out. So that is really good by Pop the Smoke to really delay that Somerset power spike as they try to go through the soul early. Forced to wait another dragon out for it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's huge there. Indooroopilly being able to take away that soul delays it a little bit, gives them time, because in the mid game, I do favor their comp over Somerset's. From the 20-minute mark until probably the 30th, they win these team fights until Kassadin starts to scale up a bit more, until he completes his Zhonya's Hourglass and his Seraphs and becomes a little bit tankier. The burst from the Shyvana is going to be unparalleled, and especially Syndra with that GLP means she's going to be landing so many AoE ultimates, and Vayne as well with the Blade of the Rune King is starting to spike up here. So again, it's going to be very interesting. I think once Graves gets his Death's Dance though, and of course Kassadin gets another 2 items, they're going to be very tanky. And, you know, once they're able to resist this initial burst from the Shyvana, I think these fights start turning in Somerset's favor. And as long as Indooroopilly can, you know, kind of stop them from getting to these spikes, or at least shut down some of the healing that they're going to be getting from their items, I think, you know, they are still able to stay in this game. And I think Vayne here, iTzSweeTz, is going to be the main threat for Indooroopilly in this game. And they need to make sure they're bursting out Kassadin as soon as possible, because he's going to be the biggest teamfight threat. As much as attemptṳ is going to be doing a lot of damage too, and of course daddied is going to be providing the poke, it's very important that they take out this Kassadin as quick as possible. As we saw in that last fight, he just absolutely cleaned up once that Rift Walk got ramped up.
Yeah, I would love to say that I love the itemization from Varus right now, from daddied. Like, he's got that Edge of Night, that spell shield as well. That's going to prevent, like, you know, Shyvana from chunking him out, or Syndra from chunking him out early into the fight. So he's going to be really hard to kill. He has that chains of corruption. He'll be able to get it off safely and still do a chunk of damage, even though he's quite squishy and has relatively low DPS.
And I think the other thing that Somerset needs to do, as we've seen them approach these last few fights, is they're not working on using this Varus correctly. They're not poking at their opponents beforehand. They're not getting a couple of arrows, poking through and chunking the health bars of the Indooroopilly lineup. They've kind of been starting this objective where what they should be doing is establishing vision control, and then starting to use the Varus to kind of poke out, you know, keep Graves in a bush, get him a couple autos and back away, and just chunk the health bars of the Indooroopilly lineup up before they go for these engages to give themselves an advantage in the fight. Of course, going for this Salady Varus means he's not going to have the greatest DPS, and if a team fight starts when everyone's at full health, they will not be able to do as much damage as Vayne will be able to do, because of course she has that constant, consistent DPS with the attack speed items, where the Varus is going to be only chunking out those arrows. So very important they start playing around this.
That's really unfortunate there for Echo, but this could be unfortunate for daddied as well. He just gets one-man dive by Vayne. There was nothing that he could have done there. Now we see Shen up in the top lane. Maybe these two want to fight him out for a moment, but looks like they're going to just push a wave in and chunk that out. But wow, that was insane plays by iTzSweeTz. Oh, there's a dive from Shyvana coming in, jumping onto Graves. Actually, it looks like Ornn gets taken out first. Now it's a 2v1. attemptṳ is trying to get away there. It's a valiant attempt, but unfortunately he goes down.
Yeah, and this game is looking very much in Indooroopilly's control. 2 towers going down for them now. Looks like this top tower will fall very shortly, and it's looking like it's kind of transitioning back towards the fact that Indooroopilly are going to be taking charge of this game. Somerset looking a little bit disjointed, getting caught out a couple too many times. We see NineGod here trying to make something happen.
Yes, certainly gets taunted by the Shen. Will he have enough damage to try to kill Pop the Smoke? He's getting so low. Stand United comes out. It looks like that will save Shyvana's life. And that was a really, really well-timed ultimate from... sorry, I can't read the Shen's name right now. chadyou, that's it. I remember now.
That barely just came up too. That was still coming off cooldown from that last dragon fight. The Shen ultimate, of course, didn't go through all the way, so I think he got some of the cooldown refunded as the Vayne died before it was actually pulled off. But again, there only just barely came off cooldown and was able to save the Shyvana's life. And NineGod there on the Kassadin trying to go for a big hero play, but unfortunately gets shut down. So not going to be the same. And again, more kills going to Indooroopilly, 22-14. Of course, the early game kill lead was with Somerset, but now the game is firmly in control of Indooroopilly's.
Yeah, but however, I will say Kassadin is scaling up. Ornn items are going to be on the map soon. Like, Graves will get stronger. You know, the Varus, the team fighting ability of Varus will get better and better as this game goes on, because they'll be grouped up constantly. Those arrows will be like, because you don't want to be grouping up against Varus, Kassadin, Graves, Ornn, but you don't want to be split up against Varus because he'll slowly be able to poke you down one by one.
Yeah, you want to be able to go for concise, clear engages, and the reason why they've been getting such good engages on these fights is because Somerset have been bringing the fight to them. They've been the one making the engage, and that's where Indooroopilly's comp functions best, on the counter. They've got the Shen, of course, to counter with his engage, with obviously the Stand United to react. They've got Shyvana as well, who jumps in with her burst, and if Somerset, you know, kind of play a little bit more controlled and don't go to engage these fights, they have the real tools to enable the fights, and they need to make sure that Indooroopilly aren't able to get free fights off by Somerset just simply allowing them to kind of walk up and engage. That's the one issue in their draft. They don't have a clear engage form. They have the Thresh hook, and that's about it. But if the Thresh hook's not online, then they are unable to make these fights happen. And as a result, Somerset will have a lot more control. Will be able to utilize this Varus poke, and so they need to make sure they need to really relax and really make sure they're playing a lot more clear and concise and not going for these aggressive engages.
There's a bit of an aggressive engage going on right now. Varus gets a quick shutdown onto Shyvana. Really nice by Somerset. They're Indooroopilly get a little bit too aggressive. And now it looks like so many members of Somerset are just so low. Shen dashes in. It was like Ornn will fall in just a minute. Now here comes the rest of the Indooroopilly lineup. We see Syndra sitting back there. Nice guy of weak lands. Unfortunately, look how low this dragon is. They just need to kill that Kassadin. And unfortunately, just... I like Somerset did manage to secure the Dragon Grave. Got that nice smite out to finish it off. But Vayne gets a nice triple, and it looks like they'll be moving to the Baron.
Yeah, they were able to get that Baron, but at the cost of 4 members. After solo taking that pick on the Shyvana, they should have just reset, gotten their health bars up, and then walked back into the Dragon again. And with full health, 5v4, there was no way Indooroopilly could contest. But against Somerset, just being a little bit too aggressive, going for that play a little bit maybe before they should, and just not trying to play this game a lot slower. But Dragon Soul now is probably Somerset's look towards being conditioned. Of course, now 1 dragon off that as well. Baron will be going over to Indooroopilly. A fantastic capitalization for them taking that fight, and barely just going down though. Thankfully, Vayne now got the 2 items. The Rage Blade is so important for her DPS stats. It's going to be very, very difficult now for Somerset to kind of try get lane priority though, with this Baron going over to Indooroopilly, and with the Dragon spawning in 4 minutes. Baron wears off a minute before that's up, so after this Baron is over, Somerset are going to have to collect themselves very quickly, look to try to poke out and try to take this Dragon down.
Yeah, certainly. That soul is going to be the most impactful factor. Somerset, they're behind. They're 9,000 gold down. But they have a huge Dragon advantage. Neutral objectives are in their favor. They may have lost Baron, which could put them in a worse situation, as Indooroopilly may want to try to crack open the base, get that inhibitor pressure, which will help them secure the next Dragon, secure the next Baron even. This is just a race against time, as I feel like Indooroopilly need to end this game within the next, 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, the Shyvana here from Pop the Smoke has been such an influential pick this game. She does so much damage when she's coming in over the wall with the Dragon's Leap, I think is what it's called. So much damage, so much potential coming out of that champion, and if the Graves is unable to match this damage from Pop the Smoke, you see NineGod here.
Really aggressive by Pop the Smoke. NineGod getting absolutely clapped. Here comes Graves to help out, and looks like there was a grave mistake by Pop the Smoke getting in on there. But they're on top of it. But Vayne has a Shen to protect her, and they just go down as well. Unfortunately, looks like they got a little bit baited by Pop the Smoke sacrifice.
Yeah, Pop the Smoke went in there. Is that same aggressive play. Death Cap completed as well with the double 10, so she's going to be nuking everybody. You see Graves here building the Hex Tech, the Hex Drinker, sorry, to help reduce the impact of some of those ultimates coming out from the Shyvana. And as a result, Vayne at 10, 2, and 7. Phantom Dancer completed as well, so has that lifesteal once she gets on low health, and she's going to be very difficult to take out. And as you can see, just obliterated Kassadin. I think Kassadin needs to get Azonia's Hourglass, and I think he needs Azonia's Hourglass as soon as possible.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. Same thing there. I'm a little bit cautious for Somerset. They've got all the key ultimates up in the fight. They just need to get all their players in the right positions with the right targeting. I was like, that's the issue right now. They're just getting focused. Like, Indooroopilly is focusing these fights really well. A little bit of over-aggression from a couple of the members, but for how far behind they are, I think they're doing okay. But I just feel like over-aggression and cockiness may be their downfall for this first game. Yeah,
I think they really just need to, I mean, it's not over yet, right? Even though they are 10k gold behind, they still have a Kassadin, right? Which is obviously that late game win factor. He's 1 level off hitting that level 16 Castle Win power spike. And of course, the later they get into this game, the more and more he's going to be impactful. But again, the Vayne late game has been enabled, and she hasn't been shut down early enough, and she's not taking enough poke to, really combat that. Ornn doesn't have the items up yet to kind of deal with the Vayne poke, and he's just getting shredded through. So I think maybe the biggest area for Somerset I can see is, this Karma pick here from Benacross hasn't really done a lot this game. She hasn't really got that many. She's only got 2 items completed. She's not doing a lot of healing, not doing a lot of catching for her team. And I think the Thresh here from the Last Dance has been actually quite fantastic. Done a lot of crucial hooks, a lot of very important flays, and be able to control the team fights quite effectively. Of course, the Infernal Dragon now will be spawning in about 40 seconds, but Somerset are in no position to contest.
Certainly not. I would like to briefly go over the Ornn items are available now. Natural Requiem has upgraded the Black Cleaver into a...
It doesn't
I
don't know, something like that.
It's the Obsidian Cleaver. That's going to really help Graves get a little bit stronger in, a little bit more resist, a little bit more, health damage out of it. But no one else really has it. Oh, is Indooroopilly trying to cheese here? They want to wait and catch someone out from Somerset. And it looks like it may be Karma. Death sentence thrown out. But that nice little speed up will get her away for now.
There's such good vision control here from Indooroopilly, just controlling and constricting the entire blue side jungle of Somerset. And it means when they kind of contest towards this Infernal Drake, which, could eventually end up being the soul, as we see here.
Nice stand, there. Call of a Forge got to come in to try to split up this Indooroopilly lineup. But I think it's a losing fight for Somerset as they're getting clapped on from all sides. Indooroopilly get a quick couple of kills and they move forward onto the back line for Indooroopilly. And unfortunately, look at that, Somerset's Varus gets called out. Blast planted into the rest of the lineup. The only one left standing is the Ornn. And unfortunately, they're two inhibitor turrets down. And I feel like this is going to be the base really taking a major hit, if not game over.
That was such an important and unfortunate fight for Somerset. Kassadin was able to get a 3-man ulti into the back lane, was just barely unable to take out iTzSweeTz. And, I think if he was able to take out iTzSweeTz, get that reset, he would have been able to, really tear through the rest of this team, and that fight would have gone a completely different way. But Indooroopilly recognizing here they have an opportunity to end the game. The spawn time is still about 15 seconds away. Minions flooding into the base now. They can potentially look to end the first game of this series right now.
Looks like they may just opt for like a triple inhib and back away. Because, that's the safe option. They maybe could have taken both Nexus turrets with that push. I feel like ending was a little bit, maybe a little bit over-aggressive. But, triple inhibs is definitely not something to laugh at. And that means I feel like the next Baron, which is only 20 seconds away, Indooroopilly may just go for it, push in with Baron minions from all 3 waves and end the game that way.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where with all these inhib downs, double super minions will be falling into the base for the next 3.5 minutes or so. It's going to be so difficult for Somerset to contest any neutral objectives, especially that Baron. And, that could be where the game is decided. That Baron push with the double supers, especially given the fact that Indoor are so far ahead, it's going to be very difficult for Somerset to resist this base. And I think, honestly, if I was Somerset, you got to start looking towards the next game. Where can we improve? What went wrong? Because, early on in the game, they looked to have control of it. They had this scaling picks and, you see the Gren across going down. Yeah.
Nice flame to a death sentence. Karma does narrowly manage to get away. Huge chunk up of a Dragon's Breath. That is some serious damage coming out of Shyvana.
Yeah,
they're gonna opt for the Baron too. Wow.
They're just so strong right now. Shyvana, of course, with Nash's Tooth means she'll be able to take down these objectives without taking much damage in return. A very quick neutral objective.
Comes the fight. Call of a Forge doesn't get bounced back, and unfortunately, look at this Ornn stuck between all 5 members of Indooroopilly. And this is just horrific. I can't stand to watch this anymore. As they're falling one by one. And yeah, look at that. The game is ending. Nexus turrets are falling. And Indooroopilly looks like they're going to take game 1 of a series.
Yeah, and what a good game it was too. It was a very even match. And as much as you say Indooroopilly has turned into a bit of a stomp now, 15k gold lead, 37 kills to 17. But early game it was all Somerset. It was all them taking this game on, and it was attemptṳ NineGod ruining that mid lane duo. But it's such a fantastic competition. I think this is definitely a series that could go to all 3 games here today. It's going to see who can actually turn around this next game and adapt in the draft. And about Somerset, we talked about it. It's very hard to get that mental reset off after you lose that first game, but it's so fundamental that they are able to reset their mental, realize there's still 3 games to go. They can still win these series. They take out the next 2 games. They're all good to go. But a fantastic game from Indooroopilly there. And we'll be right back with the next game.
Yep. Don't go anywhere. Oh, that's a roll swap for AD carry and support on Somerset.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to Game 2 of the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship between Somerset and Indooroopilly High School. A very exciting first game of the series today, being taken out by Indooroopilly in a slugfest. A fantastic game, actually, and probably one of the probably highest quality back and forth games I've seen so far this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that was such a seesaw, like a roller coaster of emotions. I feel like we both went through replays. We saw Somerset claim that early lead. Graves 4-0, like getting a whole chunk of goal, but I just don't think he capitalized and made use of that, like going forwards. And everyone else on his team kind of let that goal kind of slip away from the rest of them until Indooroopilly really had that heavy gold lead that they could kind of push through. But now we see a little bit of a roll swap coming out of Somerset. AD carry and support switching places.
Yeah, I mean, both these players are both AD carry players primarily, and they played the role the same elo. They're both silver 330. I think one's 30 LP and one's 33 LP, so pretty much exactly the same. And I mean, a couple of things to adjust from this next draft. I think number one, Pop the Smoke was going to be our MVP for game one. We didn't get to go over that. We kind of just jumped straight into champ select. And I think they need to really ban out the Shyvana and the Vayne. iTzSweeTz look way too good in the Vayne. And in a best of 3 series like this, the ban should adapt throughout the draft. Through the draft, and you'll see him ban out a lot of those champions that had those problems early on in the game. I think Somerset also need to draft a more priority mid laner, and the Karma support as well is a good pick in theory. Didn't work out as planned. You need something with a little bit more engage, a little bit more tankiness.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I just don't feel like they had that go button that that Indooroopilly had, like for the rest of their team. I just don't feel like they had that to like kind of like flow with. They kind of had the Kassadin who jumped in. But like with the Thresh hooks, with the Shen, they had that go button.
Interesting to see too. The bans have been adapted between game 1 and game 2. Obviously, so far Intro has banned out the same champions, but Somerset banning out the Graves that they played, and of course the Shen that chadyou looked really good on.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. We may see like a repeat, but you know, like now that they know what kind of playstyle they're expecting, I feel like Somerset could adapt to those picks a little bit better than they did in the last game. So we may see repeat picks. We might not. I really wonder how this first round of the draft is going to play out. Somerset looking at Yasuo. This could be so many different kinds of Yasuo replays. Yasuo top, Yasuo bot, Yasuo mid. We may even see like the Yasuo Gragas bot lane.
I reckon this is going to be Yasuo in the mid lane. I reckon NineGod here, obviously playing the Cass in that first game, has an affinity for melee assassins, and although not an assassin himself, Yasuo generally affiliated with those style of champions could be played in the mid lane, and it's a very aggressive pick lane, especially as a first pick being taken away.
I feel like that could be a bit of a dangerous pick. There, like it'd be pretty easy to like pick into Kassadin, like Yasuo or something. I don't know, maybe something where you'll sit back and just like poke him down. I'm trying to think, maybe something like LeBlanc even. Malzahar as well.
The classic Yasuo Kiana, or anything with hard CC to lock him down in his abilities. Interesting exactly what else they're going to fill out around this draft, and even if this Yasuo does go toward the bot lane, you did also note that, of course, Benacross and daddied have swapped roles, so had to see exactly who ends up playing the AD carry, and of course they could swap back to, you don't know.
Yeah, Indooroopilly locking in a Ornn and Alistar in response. I do like those two picks. A lot of hard crowd control, like especially with the Alistar and Ornn, that can like really cancel out this Yasuo's engage.
Yeah, exactly, and we can see, Alistar and Ornn, both champions that want to make something happen and kind of engage those fights, because that was one of the things that Indooroopilly didn't have in that last game, a main forum engage. Of course, they did still have the ability to kind of shred through. They still did very well because Somerset weren't being very patient when they were taking these fights, and instead, were inviting the Shyvana from Pop the Smoke to come in and just decimate half the team.
Yeah, certainly. And now we see a couple of interesting picks coming out of Somerset. We see both an Elise and a Darius. I love to see Elises get picked in tournaments. They have such good like early game potential, like for their ganks and dives.
Yeah, exactly. And interesting to see the Darius and Elise. Darius is, of course, not a very common champion in a 5v5, and you can see Somerset kind of reverting to one of those kind of drafts where you see more of them just picking for, carry champions. They're picking what they want to play. Of course, Yasuo counters Syndra in lane. Of course, Darius does very well into Ornn and the tanks, and of course, Elise, going to focus around these two lanes quite prominently. Of course, providing that AP damage to kind of subside with the attack damage from both these two carries. Of course, the Shyvana getting banned out. Smart ban, but again, it's not going to be that same team fight comp we saw at Somerset, and this is them kind of reverting back to a bit of comfort. They tried to experiment in that first game with a bit more of a team synergy, kind of team fight style draft, and now you can see them going for these individual picks that they're going to try and outperform their opponents on 1v1, and of course with the game on the line, the series on the line, their tournament hopes on the line, to see exactly comfort is where you want to be so you can pull off these wins.
I'm really happy for what Indooroopilly's doing here. They locked in Vyasa. They banned out, that's right, they locked in the Alistair in response to Vyasa, but they banned out the Nautilus. They are banning out so many different forms of knockups, and they're taking them away from Somerset. I don't see much else that Somerset could pick to combo with his Yasuo down in the support lane. I honestly, I'm not sure what they'll pick in response to. Obviously, we're yet to see the bot lane, so we will have to find out what they kind of pull out of their hat.
Yeah, exactly. No, so it's one of those things where you see also that is the problem with Yasuo. You want to see it paired with something like a Gragas or a Malphite, something that can enable its knockup, as we see Vayne being taken away, of course, as well. A very prominent pick by iTzSweeTz, and Kai'Sa, a like-for-like replacement being picked up there as well. Able for her to kind of play that very similar role, and of course with the Alistair, able to instantly put 2 stacks of this passive on. The lineup here from Indooroopilly is looking quite potent.
Yeah, certainly. It's looking like one of those really nice 5v5 team comps. I don't know how I feel about the Swain. This is actually a really interesting one, because this may symbolize it could be that Yasuo Gregor. Swain can be played in the mid lane, can be played support. And it looks like we're going to see...
It's definitely Swain support. Swain support's pretty much the only role he's been played in for the last few months. Very strong CC there with the pullback on the root from his claw. So Swain able to really lock down those champions quite effectively. As you see, Xayah from daddied was hovered in the first game and now will be taking down the bot lane. A very good AD carry in terms of able to resist CC and punish this, again, short-range Kai'Sa. I wonder what the jungler pick will be here at a pop smoke.
It looks like it's going to be a Dr. Mundo. That is one of my favorite junglers. Not because he's a great jungler or anything. He's actually pretty decent right now. But I love Dr. Mundo, and he's going to go where he pleases, and hopefully that means he's going to go destroy the enemy Nexus and take the win for Indooroopilly in a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, I mean, Pop the Smoke playing these alternate jungle picks, the Shyvana and the Mundo, are picks you never really see often, but whenever you do, they either do really well or really bad. And of course, pulling out that Shyvana did very well in the last game. It looks like a lot of role swaps. I mean, it could be Yasuo top, but also could be NineGod playing towards that top side, and the 2 Diamond players from Somerset are going to try and bully chadyou and Dr. Mundo up in the top lane.
Yeah, what I really do like about the lineup from Somerset is they have really good dive potential. There's the Cocoon from the Elise, there's the Apprehend from the Darius, there's, obviously the Steel Tempest into the Whirlwind combo for Last Breath on Yasuo. Like Swain, he's got that Claw of Death thing. The Xayah has the Feather Caller to root them all up. There's just such a nice dive comp and just lockdown. But Indooroopilly have that team comp fight, like that team comp as well, that lets them really team fight effectively. It's very much a similar repeat of last game, but Somerset have gone for that LoLQHS comp.
Yeah, but it's very important that Somerset, with this more aggressive focused comp, make sure they end this game early on and get a big lead in the early game. They need to be 5-10k gold up, and we did see him jump out to a lead early on, but it was only a 2,000 gold lead, and they ended up throwing it away, going for over aggressive plays. So they really need to make sure they play a lot more calm and controlled, and don't go for these over aggressive plays, and are not being too oppressive and too aggressive when they're going for the plays in the game, and make sure they get this early game need and keep it.
We're talking about how we don't want them to be don't want them to be overly aggressive. They need to make those calculated plays like they made at early game last game, where they got that Grave some really, really fed. Now I think they're going to be wanting to look for those early ganks as well. Like attemptṳ is going to want to get those dives in with that Cocoon, that repel to shift tower aggro. Is one of the best tools that Elise has, and if they don't use it, they're going to really struggle if they don't get that early lead, as we spoke about. They don't have that scaling comp again. Indooroopilly has that on. They can buy those late game scaling items. Kai'Sa, Syndra, Mundo tanking it all up. But what I will say, I'm really concerned if this game reaches 30 minutes. For Somerset.
Yeah, exactly. Once this Ornn comes online, once the Kai'Sa comes online, and of course the Alistair as well, there's just so much CC to enable Kai'Sa to get deep backline dives And, one of the key issues when you have a too squishy carry comp is, obviously if the Syndra mispositions in like 80 carry mispositions, they can get punished quite effectively by these aggressive divers that Somerset has, right? If they can jump onto this backline and blow up the 2 damage carries, there's not much that Indooroopilly can do. But the fact that Kai'Sa dives, and so they'll have 2 carries on opposite sides of the fight, obviously Kai'Sa in the backline, Syndra on the front line, as in Somerset's backline and Indooroopilly's backline, right? It's going to be so much more difficult for Somerset to split their focus and take out both these carries. And again, they don't really have that tankiness that they kind of lacked. Again, Ben across in the support role, playing the Swain, similar to a Karma, a very squishy pick that's, not going to be as tanky as something like maybe a Nautilus or something that kind of helps facilitate this Yasuo is going to be very squishy. And as a result, they don't have that same tankiness to protect daddied when they're diving on top of him.
Yeah, here's a quick question for you, Replays. Can Yasuo use the last breath of, say, the apprehend? Does that count as he's pulling you? That is one of the interesting combos that they could pull out like from Somerset here. And I spoke about it like in the champs like briefly. That I like how Indooroopilly banned away the Nautilus in their like second round of ban phase. They took away the Alistar really early, got the Ornn, and just took so many of those knockup champions away from Somerset.
Yeah, exactly right. When you have this Yasuo first pick, you expect something like a Gragas coming in or a Malphite, something to help set it up. But Somerset, the only knockup, as you said, is maybe the pullback from the Swain passive, and of course the apprehend from Darius. The 2 main ways to get it. Of course, obviously he's got his own ability to knock up with that Steel Tempest, the Q there. However, it's kind of unreliable, and you can't guarantee that to hit all the time. And especially if you can get a pick off. In this early game, I think it's going to be very important because Somerset do have winning lanes, right? The only lane that is a bit 50-50 is bot lane. I don't really know much about the bot lane. I don't know how Swain Xayah matches up against Kai'Sa Alistar. Of course, Xayah and Kai'Sa were probably the 2 premier 80 carries throughout last year's meta. And as a result were, constantly matched up in that lane. And I can't really recall how those lanes used to go, especially given the fact that the Xayah is not paired with the Rakan, interestingly enough. I think Xayah Rakan here would have been probably the ideal bot lane lock-in. It allows to have that knock-up for the Yasuo as we are instantly into game here, 23 seconds, in fact.
Nice.
I
was thinking that. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, Rakan, why are they not picking Rakan here? I just thought like the grand entrance and like with the quickness as well, but it's so nice to run through that Indooroopilly lineup and maybe make catching out this Kai'Sa and Syndra a little bit easier for, say, the Yasuo or the Darius. But, we get to see the Swain Xayah bot lane. To briefly go on about how the Xayah Kai'Sa matchup goes, right now, I feel like Kai'Sa isn't been a worse spot from last year.
Yeah.
She's got hit by a couple of nerfs. Xayah actually got a little bit of a buff a couple patches ago. So I feel like she definitely has the advantage going forwards. But we will have to see kind of how things play out over the first couple minutes, as I think attemptၤ and Pop the Smoke are going to be the important factors for this game. Once again, jungle pressure, jungle presence is super important on these champions.
Yeah, exactly right. It's all about, again, these Elise in the early game. If Elise can get big leads, it's going to be so difficult for, of course, Mundo to really contest. He's going to be farming his jungle early on and not be able to contest. A great ward there by Darius, but being spotted out by the Mundo means that they'll be aware of where Mundo's pathing if he opts to wait all that red buff. And looks like Elise starting bot side means she'll be heading straight up for that top lane to start targeting towards this Ornn. And I think that's going to be the real focus of the game we're going to see for Somerset.
Yeah, certainly. And I would love to see an early gank come out of this Elise. I would love to see that level 2-3 repel gank. It's just so fun to watch it go down. Imagine, I'm about to kill the Elise. She's going to die on the tower. Repel! Shifts the tower aggro on, say, the Darius or the Yasuo. And she gets out scot-free. Amazing. And I just need to see that happen early game for the moment. But I wonder what's going to happen down bot lane for the moment. But we're looking at top lane right now. Who will get level 2 first? Looks like it's going to be Darius.
Yeah, I mean, you can expect Darius to dominate this lane up in the top side. He's going to be very aggressive up here, of course, shredding through the armor from Ornn, who is no slouch himself when it comes to damage, but this is one of those matchups where it is so difficult for tanks to even contest against Darius. He's a reason why he's picked, along with the Fiora sometimes, in a tank meta, just to counter these strategies. And if you have a carry top laner, of course, which NineGod, the diamond player, shall be, means you can play a lot more heavily towards that side of the map. And, of course, in the mid lane as well, Natural Requiem has a favored matchup, and you can see last game was all about the bot side of the match. I think this game's will be at the top side.
Yep, there's that. gank I was talking about, that repel. Actually, is Darius tanking around. He's going to go down to the tower. That's a free kill going over to chadyou. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, once again, Somerset playing a little bit too aggressively there and executing these aggressive dives. And unfortunately, the first blood going over, at least they're still strong.
Looks like Attempt is going to get a kill onto chadyou in response. Really nice down there. And he's going to shove that wave in to deny chadyou even a little bit more gold.
He's going to have the teleport though, and leave to burn that to get straight back to lane. Darius, of course, not having teleport, has the ghost instead. So opting not to have that entire team fight, which means I think Darius is going to be a lot more towards split pushing. I think you're going to see him in a side lane the entirety of this game.
That would make sense. Like I do like Somerset's comp in like a 4v4, 4v5 sense. Like where they could just sit back and wait for the mistake and capitalize on it. But maybe it looks like Somerset's bot lane maybe making a bit of a mistake here as an Alistar combo knocks out this Swain. KaiSaW just narrowly hits a minion, but it looks like Swain may get taken out. He's ignited. Maybe one more auto is all that's needed. But unfortunately, seems to be stepping back. Heal blown by daddied to keep his support alive.
Yeah, and I mean, Benacross on the Karma had definitely, not the best game last time out, and needs to make sure in this second game of this series he improves quite a bit. And so far, it's again them just getting punished quite aggressively for stepping up a little bit too far to these waves. And geez, NineGod taking a lot of damage here, tanking the wave.
Oop, there's Elise here. Attempt may come in, may get a real nice cocoon lockdown. That's a really nice kill. Quickly going over the Attempt. That's what the Elise really needs to get ahead now.
Yeah, I mean, especially given it's such an early game carry. The Graves last game from Attempt was obviously a little bit more of a champion that comes online later in the game as NineGod up on the top side. Yeah. chadyou very low.
Oh, that's so low. Forced to flash away. I feel like there's no flash on NineGod now, so he can't flash him for a cheese auto. But maybe he'll go for something here. He did pop that ghost, and this is volatile.
Yeah, too aggressive to dive there, of course, with Attempt on the bottom side of the map. But it means that NineGod, of course, you can see the damage that he's going to put out onto this Ornn, and Ornn going for 2 early health crystals, in fact, to maybe try to sustain a little bit more damage, and 2-man knockout from Alistar.
Yeah, a little bit of a bad. I think that's a little bit of an odd response there. With so many minions on Somerset's side, I feel like that was just a little bit of over-aggression from Indooroopilly. I think I'm starting to say it right. Look at that. There was, 10 minions there in Somerset's advantage. I don't understand why they would go for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that aggressive minion wave manipulation early on that needs to be a little bit more controlled and concise. But of course, down in the bot lane, of course, taking that kill into Alistar is something you wouldn't expect Somerset to get any solos in this lane. Alistar, quite a tanky champion. Once he hits level 6, will be very hard to take out. And I'm doing to see exactly what Attempt does and starts pathing towards this mid lane here, because I think this Yasuo, of course, being poked at early on, is about to hit, or has just hit level 6, and it's going to be, if he lands one of those last breaths comboed with an Elise cocoon, it could be very difficult for lionroar to kind of kite out this Yasuo and Elise combination.
Yeah, so I feel like this game is going to be in a bit of a stale spot for the next couple of minutes, while no one really goes for anything. Maybe we'll see a fight over the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, the first dragon of this game, of course, being an ocean dragon, so won't be that important dragon souls we see. Again, so much damage coming over NineGod on the top side, but of course, chadyou getting that early first blood means he's got his ultimate available and very low to Darius already.
I would be interested to see a dive here. He's got the potential for the triple Ornn proc. Look how low he is already. Now Mundo maybe getting a little bit caught out here. Nice cocoon lands. That's at least basically an assassin as well as Benacross gets a kill. And it looks like the triple Ornn combo is going to come out as chadyou takes NineGod down.
And that's not what you want to see when you pick that Darius to dominate that top lane there. chadyou being able to sustain it, but the bot lane, of course, are going to be playing more aggressively here from Somerset, picking up an Ocean Dragon. But when you pick that counter champion, that Darius, who's supposed to do well in lane and not function in the team fights, and he goes down there to goes down there to the solo kill from chadyou on Indooroopilly's side, makes it very difficult for them to really contest, and it's going to be quite a difficult matchup in that top side if Darius can't get further ahead.
And you know what? Taking that ghost as well is even more detrimental for him. He can't teleport back into lane. He doesn't even have the ignite for pure lane pressure as well to get those kills a little bit easier. I feel like he kind of picked out trying to go down 3 different routes, and he's he's not going all the way in each one.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, they're unable to pick up chadyou before he got back. And I think, the later this gets into the game, as long as Ornn can sustain against the Darius, he's going to be infinitely more useful later in the game. And I mean, this Darius pick could be what cost Somerset the series.
Maybe we will have to see, because it is definitely not performing at peak performance right now. So
and the best as well straight away into the Ornn means it's going to be very difficult. I think it's very important they get early grievous wounds too for this Mondo, because traditionally what happens with the jungle Mondo, you kind of forget he's there and he pops up level 7 or 8 for one of these kind of skirmishes around a dragon or something like that, and he just pops his ultimate and becomes unkillable because you forget to buy those Executioner's Calling you traditionally only get if you were laning against him 1v1.
Yeah, that's actually a really important point, and I really hope that Somerset will realize that they do have the higher rated players on their team, so maybe one of them will point out, hey guys, let's buy Executioner's Calling. Maybe a Morello Nomicon on the Elise, as that's the grievous wounds for the magic damage version.
Yeah, precisely. Except the problem is that Morello Nomicon you're talking about costs about 3,000 gold, so not as attainable early on into the game with the Executioner's Calling. Only 800 gold is required to pick up that item in particular. So again, Somerset here definitely on the back foot, even though they're up in kills technically. They're down in gold, down in CS in this bot lane and the middle lane. So it's looking. I mean, you want them to be further ahead when you pick this Elise Darius combination.
Yeah, certainly. I feel like there's only... I don't want to be too picky here, but I feel like the bot lane for Indooroopilly is misplaying just a little bit by not getting so aggressive. But talking about aggressive right now, Yasuo last rep in. Cocoon misses, really nice scan of a week by lionroar. I think he's going to get called out again as a nice dash through Wraiths by Yasuo. Nice call of the Forge, got in, bounced back in. Another kill goes up to chadyou. 3-1 now, tries to charge into Yasuo. One more hit, and that's another double kill going over to Ornn. He is huge, and he's going to go on to NineGod now. I feel like they're going to try to duke this out. No, why is NineGod going in here? He's going to get slowed down by Mundo because he's constantly trying to get the execution here. Unfortunately, not going to come out. A couple more cleavers. Look at how low pop the smoke is. There's a teleport. Actually, there's teleport from Ornn. Sorry, from Syndra comes in. Nice scat of a week. Will it be another kill for Ornn? Yes, it will. 5-1.
Man, Ornn is not what you want to expect when you see this Darius lane coming in, and Somerset are looking maybe a little bit on tilt from that last game, weren't able to reset their mental. We were talking about it's so difficult when you're behind, and chadyou, of course, this Ornn up in the top side picked up the double armor now, so I don't think there's any way he's going to be taken down by the Darius, and that's a huge difficulty for Somerset to kind of adapt from now that this Darius is kind of useless in the laning phase, and that's really what you're picking for to win this side lane versus the Ornn, and now he's just got no competition against it, and Somerset are looking in a bit of a dire state despite the fact that they are have that early game competition.
It's a little bit strange as well, isn't it? Like, in the sense that, like, obviously the Elise is powerful early. She's like she's a really early game focused, like jungle, like a magic damage jungle assassin. But she's falling behind, so this double armor from Ornn is going to be really good as the game scales on, and Elise falls off.
Yeah, exactly, right. Elise only has that early game damage. No. Not to warrant it.
This is horrible for Swain. Nice knockback away, trying to buy time for Kai'Sa to take out Benarox. But look at this, Last Dance is getting caught up by Kai'Sa. There's a nice killer instinct from Kai'Sa, get a little bit of extra distance away. Last Dance may get taken down. He's popped his ultimate to try to survive. Unfortunately, not. The unyielding is not enough. Nice scat of a week. Down goes Benarox for a moment. Now they move on to attempt Unleash Power. And not just that, look who's come to join his team. chadyou has come down to get another kill. Takes down daddied, and now they're diving this Yasuo. And iTzSweeTz will pick up his first kill of the match.
Man, the first game was a concise back and forth contest, but this second one is turning to an absolute decimation of Somerset by Indooroopilly State High. So strong now. Kai'Sa's starting to get fed. lionroar again on his Syndra, roaming around the map, trying to just influence the game. Requiem coming in and try to do something, but was unable to make anything happen. And for Somerset, this game's looking like very difficult to come back into it. And I'd almost say it's already like an 80-20% chance that Somerset's going to win this game.
Well, talking about that, why don't... this could be a little bit interesting. Are they going to dive this? Look how low Benarox got from just one quick combo there. But we may see attempt to get a little quick return kill, or maybe he'll go down once again. He's out of a repel range. One more hit, and that is just really unfortunate there. Wait a second, Yasuo. Alistair can get taken out. The unyielding may not be enough to save him this time. Pop the smoke is behind them. More kills may go over to Indooroopilly here. Scat of a week lands. One more goes over to daddied. Mundo tanking, but the cleaver will get him a kill. Unfortunately, he will fall as well. And the 3,500 gold lead in Indooroopilly's favor. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, when you're the early game 10, you're down 3,500 gold. It's very dire for your chances of taking out the game. Syndra already completed her first 2 items, moving on to her third. At least this early game pick from Attempt, it was the carry when we saw him on stream every time. And man, it's so difficult to, really take out these champions. And, especially down this bot lane, Benacross and Daddy just stepping up way too aggressively, don't have those wards there, or at least aren't checking their minimap, and just constantly last game you saw the amount of times that proper smoke got ganks inside, and Daddy going down once again here to chadyou.
Yeah, chadyou is absolutely clapping NineGod at the moment. The triple Ornn procs have been entirely effective all game. NineGod will manage to get away. He popped his ghost, and look at this. I'd have to hazard a guess and say this Ornn is at least 1,500, maybe 2,000 gold up on this Darius now, and that is a huge chunk. He's got that Sunfire Cape. He'll probably turn that into a Forge Fire Cape? No, Forge Fire Cape. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's kind of over in this top side, right? You're not going to look towards there. Probably the only hope is maybe natural work team on this Yasuo and to maybe, get ahead. But again, it's just so difficult when you've got nothing to assist with the last breath knockup.
Yeah, and even that, Syndra has the Scatter of a Week, which she's been using really effectively, just like that, as I was talking about it. But now, Allison tries to survive. Unfortunately, he gets taken out by 3 members. And that is what Somerset needs to look for. The kills they can pick without giving anything up. That's a free kill. They use they don't even have to use any ultimate for that. And that's a real nice combo there. Another kill goes over. At least picking up 2 quickies.
Yeah, and you can see as well, Yasuo using the last breath off that sway and pull back and picking up that shutdown. Unfortunately, at least probably isn't the carry you want the damage to go on to. You see Daddy just, for no reason, walking up, bruising ultimate, taking a big chunk and going down.
Instinct's coming out.
That's real unfortunate.
Wait, is Benarok's going to kill iTzSweeTz here? No, he throws a hand out in the wrong direction. But Demonic Ascension is used. He's just walking him down. And yes, Somerset get another kill. They could be turning this game around as they bring 1,500 gold back in 30 seconds.
But the problem is it's not onto their carries, right? It's going to the jungle and support, and the real main way for them to get back into this game is, I think, through this Yasuo. I mean, Swain as well can get decent damage later on into the game as he kind of starts to scale up, but again, they need to, one, shut down this Ornn. He's the biggest shutdown to get 600 gold total on his head. Very difficult to take down the Ornn, given the fact he's got armor built already, and then, of course, Somerset are full AD. But yeah, this Yasuo, I think, is going to be, for natural Requiem, going to be what Somerset, kind of have to play into the game. Yasuo can definitely carry later into the games. Once he completes his IE, he becomes very strong. He's famous for that 0-10, 10 and 0 power spike. chadyou trying to get something NineGod trying to get something to chadyou, but the damage he's putting on him is just getting reflected back in that Bramble Best, and he's actually taking more damage by hitting the Ornn than he would be just leaving him alone.
Yeah, I do like how Attempt was rotating around top lane. He's sitting on that top side for the moment. Looks like he's rotating mid for a little bit, but maybe he's going to try to catch out lionroar here. Yep, he's stepping above him. Nice swing put into a last breath. Another attempt gets another quickie. Unfortunately, not going over to Yasuo.
Yeah, exactly. These kills going back onto Lisa, which isn't the worst thing, right? Once she picks up a Morel on Omicron, of course, Attempt is the highest ranked player on Somerset's team, and could potentially still swing this around. And Indooroopilly are kind of falling to the trap that Somerset did last game. When they had that early game lead, they started playing disrespectfully, playing way too aggressively, and getting punished over and over again. You see iTzSweeTz going down once again to a fantastic roam from this Somerset squad, and they're catching up. They're closing this goal lead that Indooroopilly exploded, and you would say, oh, Indo's got this game locked in the bag, but they're just kind of throwing it away by playing a little bit too aggressively. I'd still say it's not, warrior stations yet, but it's, remember, just play control, play calm. You're 1-0 up. All you gotta do is win this game, and if you just play calm and controlled, you've got the scaling comp. You don't need to go for these aggressive plays, even though you're that far ahead.
I like that hero play. It does land. A little bit extra gold going over once that tower will fall. Now we'll see how this fight unfolds. Indooroopilly, Mundo gets a nice flash away while he's hitting. Yasuo flashes after him. Unyielding from Alistair, trying to buy time. Yeah, he's going to naturally Requiem, gets a quick kill there. And unfortunately, I think last dance, that will be his last dance as he gets taken out once again.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Somerset picking up 2 more kills. They're now ahead in the kill score overall. Still 2k gold down, given the fact that, of course, the CS isn't in their favor, but a shutdown now on Attempt, so he's going to make sure he doesn't go down and give more gold over to the other side. Ornn, still that big trophy, 600 gold sitting on top of his head, and he's just dominating this top side, pushing down to the second tier turret. But Somerset, Cloud Soul, of course, this game, haven't really touched on it yet. I kind of forgot that Soul was going to pop up, but that Cloud Soul could be quite impactful. These ultimates, especially on the side of Elise, is able to be triggered quite easily, so that extra movement speed is going to be quite effective for rotating it.
Oh my goodness, Kai'Sa getting absolutely demolished. She doesn't have that killer instinct jump in. Will she be able to get the kill? No, she won't. Attempt is so low. Oh, and here comes a little bit of an engage from lionroar. Maybe that's a nice feather call as well coming out. Unleash power. We're going to finish off the Yasuo. Nice Dark Sphere drop. And Natural Requiem will end up falling down to lionroar.
Yeah, Yasuo unfortunately windwalling the wrong way there and was unable to block the ultimate coming out of the Syndra. If he was able to windwall effect the correct way, I think he definitely would have taken out that kill. But lionroar picking up onto Somerset's mid laner there. Natural Requiem going down. Still pretty close to getting this IE edge. Infinity Edge, probably like 1100 gold, I think, away from picking up that next big power spike. And again, Somerset have fought quite valiantly to get back into this game, and Indooroopilly, maybe playing a little bit too aggressively. And I mean, it's not over. I thought it was over, but it's not just yet. Somerset fighting their way back into this game, but the problem is Indooroopilly still have the scaling composition. The later this game goes, the more powerful the Kai'Sa becomes, the more powerful the Ornn and Mundo are, and the more difficult it is for Somerset to get any kills and win any team fights. It's just all going to be on Yasuo, I think, to kind of carry them through this game. And of course, Swainwell as well, Benacross is getting quite strong too, so it could be difficult for them to take down that big team fighter that is the Swain. So it's going to be a very exciting game, I think, and it could be another game like we saw in that last one, another 30-minute game where everyone's fighting back and forth. And I mean, we'll have to see exactly who takes it out.
I would like to mention that Ornn just has hit level 30. He's got that Forge Fire cape. He's going to be able to start upgrading his teammates' items soon. So while that gold lead may be relatively close, is going to expand a little bit more than we realize, as those Ornn items are, I'd say, roughly about 1,000 gold in value each.
Yeah, except for the what's the upgraded Abyssal Mask? That's worth like 1,800 gold.
Yeah, that is extremely. I can't remember what it's called though.
It doesn't matter. The names aren't important. It's just ornaments, man.
Ornaments. I like it.
Ornaments.
Oh, that's really smart. That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's what they're called. That's what they're like actually called in the game.
No idea. That's amazing. You learn something new every day, guys. Ornaments. His name is Ornn. Makes total sense. Oh, that's
a bit excited over that revelation there, but
that's brought a smile to my face, guys. But what would bring a smile to my face is Indooroopilly, sitting back, taking measures again. Hopefully they don't tilt like Somerset did in that first game, and they start throwing their lead. They need to make sure that they make those smart, calculated plays, because they were getting a little bit over-aggressive for the moment.
Yeah, doing nothing out of that Alistar already, so tanky. Only level 9. But very difficult to come back. But you can see Ornn here on the top side of that fight could potentially have something happen in the jungle. And you can see them fighting around this Baron pit so early on. Attempt just trying to clear out some vision, trying to find an angle to get involved in this game. But lionroar have been so effective at landing these Scatter Weeks, been constantly landing the stuns, and very good skill shot actually from the entirety of Indooroopilly actually.
Yeah, so I wonder how the next couple of minutes is going to go, especially as Indooroopilly starts to scale up. Somerset is going to know that, right? They know the Ornn items are going to be coming out soon for his allies. Obviously, they've got a goal lead, and they should know that. So I think Somerset is going to try to make their move in the next couple of minutes to try to expand their lead. As they know, this game goes on longer and longer, they're just digging their own graves. Yeah,
I mean, precisely. But I mean, I suppose it's not the thing, right? I mean, Xayah is still quite an effective late game AD carry. She only gets stronger as she gets towards this mid game. Once she completes her second crit item, of course, given the fact she gets the bonus attack speed from her W, she won't be struggling as much in terms of the DPS output. And I think that could be a very clear window because, of course, Syndra going for this GLP means she's not going to have as much damage. Also, opting for this Zhonya's Hourglass second means she might be a little bit more resistant to the Yasuo, but still not that a lot of damage coming out of Indro. So, maybe an option for Somerset who will win these team fights just purely because they have more damage, and iTzSweeTz isn't strong enough yet to kind of one-shot any enemies on the enemy team.
Just looking at this for a moment, I don't actually see too many upgradable items from Ornn coming out. Obviously, there's Zhonya's Hourglass, which turned into the Zhonya's Paradox for lionroar, but I don't see anything coming out of iTzSweeTz for the moment. I think he's building a Rage Blade, but I don't think that upgrades it to anything, so he will be going for that third item upgrade.
Yeah, I believe so. I think no Spirit Visage can't get upgraded anymore. They got taken off. Yeah, I think pretty much the Zhonya's is the only upgradable item so far. Oh, and the Alistair item was he Dragon instantly taken away, but fight could be started up here.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's a call to the forward. Got thrown through. Nice knock-up coming out of Indooroopilly. They get Yasuo seeing on the entire backline. The unleashed power may get pulled. There's Kaiser Killer Instincting in. Windwall nicely done by Natural Requiem, and unfortunately not enough to get him away now. We see these Mundo Cleavers landing, and it looks like NineGod is doing his best to try to get away. But that was really nice engage coming out of Indooroopilly. They're going to get a really nice push in here. All four members left, collapsing into the mid lane. They look like they take 2 turrets out of that as well. But Somerset, 3 Dragon advantage.
Yeah, Somerset on soul point, but the thing is with the Dragon Soul mechanic is it's not so much of a win condition, right? You don't really get the Dragon Soul and turn from a big loss.
Oh, that's a really nice apprehend from Devin. Gets fully knocked up in a combo there. Feather combo from Zaya doing really quite a bit, but unfortunately, look how tanky this Indooroopilly lineup really is.
Yeah, there's just nothing they can do, especially the fact that Grievous Wounds haven't been built yet on anyone to try and combat this Mondo. The only Grievous Wounds they have, of course, is that Bramble Vest on the Darius. Of course, Morello's just got completed on the Elise too, but Yasuo and Kaiser really need to have this armor shred done early on because they are full AD. Other than Elise, but obviously falls off further and further. So they need to make sure they have this attack damage, the armor penetration to be able to get their damage combos out.
Yeah, Sterling. I wonder if what this Elise is doing right now, attempting getting really aggressive. They're catching out Ornn, which I think is really nice. But it was a really aggressive play, and I wonder how this is going to play as the Syndra comes with a nice scat of a weak combo, Unleashed Power as well, solo Yasuo, Swain, and at least solo as Mundo comes in as well. Get those infected cleavers straight onto their faces, jumping straight onto Swain. As Syndra goes for a Retro Team on the bottom of the map, gets a nice double kill off screen. And unfortunately, I don't understand why Somerset got so aggressive there. I feel like they played so carefully for so long. And kind of revert to old habits, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing really well, but of course, Somerset getting caught out there by the Syndra, and of course, just going for that, kind of needless venture in towards that Baron, Indra do have priority over the Baron, and they will get it first and foremost, so a little bit harder for Somerset to kind of contest that objective, especially given the fact that the Indooroopilly lineup is so strong and so tanky, but, 6k gold isn't a big lead. It's not as much as we saw last game from either side, and I think Somerset really need to make sure they're not dying anymore, and they need to just make sure they're capitalizing on any mistake Indooroopilly makes. And I think the biggest issue for them coming up soon is going to be the next soul that comes up at 2:15, because I don't think in 2 minutes they're going to be ready to win a fight against Indooroopilly, especially now Kaiser's got 3 items completed. She's going to be now fully online, and she's going to be doing way too much damage for Somerset to deal with. And if they're not at full health and not all coordinated and instantly pick off iTzSweeTz, I don't think they win a fight. And I think this fight could potentially be the end of the game here if Somerset lose badly enough.
Yeah, certainly. Look how much damage that Indooroopilly can really dish out. They've got the tanks in the front line who can protect their carries. The Alistair who there's a really nice amount of peel, really nice amount of engage. But what I will say is even if Somerset can hold on, Indooroopilly is going to continue to get stronger and stronger. Ornn's got the double Ornn items, the Abyssal Mask upgrade, the Forge Fire Cape. And, I think Kaiser may build the Infinity Edge next and go into a Molten Edge once it upgrades. But she's got a Runas, she's got the extra crit on her W as she lands for more of the on-hit procs. She's going to get stronger and stronger.
I think these guys really need to build their armor pen, because you see Ornn here is already building towards that Thorn Mail, already completed the Forge Fire Cape. Mundo has also got that Warden's Mail there, which is going to provide a lot of damage, as well as the Cold Steel passive too. As you see Benacross on this Swain, the squishy AP supports again just getting absolutely deleted. This is why you don't play something like the Lux in solo queue or Vega support. They don't work. Don't play them. Get them out of my games. It is just so squishy and getting caught out if you just misposition even slightly. So that kill going down there for Somerset means this Drake means that it's firmly in the control of Indooroopilly's, and Somerset is just getting choked out of this game.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to get caught out here once again. Nice scat of a weak lands. The River Stun out. Look at this. Indooroopilly have complete control of their bot side jungle right now.
Somerset just get a Baron maybe and just try to force them to come away from the Drake.
That'd be interesting, but it looks like Yasuo going to give a free kill. Unleash power is blocked by the Wimble. It doesn't even matter. Now, Kai'Sa trying to get taken out by this Elise. I don't think there's anything that she can do, though. She's basically standing in the enemy lineup right now. Wait, Alistar and Mundo trying to go, but I don't think they have the damage to do anything right now. As the Call of a Forge God gets bounced through. Where did Kai'Sa go? She backed away. But I don't think it really matters. That's a nice kill going over to NineGod. Now, finally comes to the Indooroopilly lineup. They move on. NineGod getting another quick kill. 2 for 1. Oh, sorry, 2 for 2. Sorry, 2 for 1. As they go through. And I feel like that was a really bad misplay by Indooroopilly. That didn't cost them too much, though.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the early pick onto natural Requiem in that Yasuo means that they couldn't go for it, but attemptၤ് trying to go for a steal gets caught out.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be going down just yet. There's nothing that could really pull him out here. Call of a Forge God is on a really short cooldown right now, so maybe this fight is long enough. They might be able to go for it, but it looks like chadyou may get taken down. Pop the Smoke will get one quick kill. chadyou flashing away, trying to buy time for Pop the Smoke to get another kill, and yes, he will, before he'll move on to Banner Rocks. Banner Rocks actually pulled him even closer to himself. Triple kill for this Mundo. Will he move on to natural Requiem? Looks like he's going to try to do so, but I don't think he's going to dive him, but that is horrific for Somerset now.
That could nearly be the game. Of course, Baron is still available and will be taken down very quickly by Kai'Sa passive plus the Rage Blade, of course. But
last breath coming out of Yasuo, moving on, and that's an absolute one-shot. What the hell just happened? And now we see a nice Decimate coming out of Darius. Quick kill going over to iTzSweeTz. That could be a Baron play. That could be. I feel like that could just be like a, a double inhib, like push it down top lane, maybe even triple inhib if they get a serious hard enough push in after taking the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, this Baron here is going to be providing the difference. Just there's no damage on Somerset that are able to deal with these big tanky tanks. They're just slowly trying to work towards this armor pen. Of course, you see Yasuo building it, and I think Xayah really needs to make sure she's building that same mortal reminder, because building another crit item or maybe her first crit item isn't going to change this game. It's not going to provide that winning factor. You need to be able to shred through these tanks because their front line is just so impossible to get through. And iTzSweeTz is just playing off the back of this front line. 4 items down on this Kai'Sa. She's fully online in the late game, and I think it's a little bit too late for Somerset. Indooroopilly way too strong, way too online. Again, iTzSweeTz getting fed on the 80 carry roll and just carrying her team to the end.
Hasn't got the upgraded Ornn item yet. I think that'll come out as soon as Ornn walks past her. He'll upgrade it with the I can't remember the name of the Ornn passive. Yeah, he'll upgrade it to the Molten Edge, and that will just change everything. Like, she's already super strong, doing so much damage along with lionroar, and just that 2 carry lineup that you spoke about, which is so like potentially volatile, but at the same time so explosive, is going to be serious. And there it comes. There's the Molten Edge, and hopefully that will be able to melt through Somerset's lineup even quicker than it already was.
Yeah, I mean, just that extra crit damage being built means she's going to be pumping out a ridiculous amount of damage as well. The Syndra here offering that Glacial Augment build means she'll, not Glacial Augment, the what's it called, Hextech GLP means she'll be offering so much more CC, and actually with the Phasers as well, it's going to be quite difficult to take down, as you see Somerset trying to resemble some form of control in their own jungle. But
that's a really nice cocoon coming out of Elisa. They'll take down iTzSweeTz. No, the killer instinct will keep him up for now. Unfortunately, she'll end up falling down one for none at the moment, as Ornn trying to get caught out. He does last breath will knock him out. Where's the Call of the Forge God? It's on cooldown, actually. No, that's really bad, because he's bouncing it back between lineups. Yasuo falls down. Last Requiem. Quick kills coming over as the Somerset lineup starts to go down one by one. And it looks like NineGod's doing his best to try to carry it. He'll get another quick kill. He's got the execution. He's got the resets coming out. But unfortunately, not quite. There's that's really good. Decimate. Zhonya's will prevent Darius from healing for a moment. Pop the smoke. Quick kill going over to NineGod. No! It looks like that could be the game for Indooroopilly now, as Somerset get aced.
There was such a valiant fight from Somerset to try and come back in the game, of course, picking off the Kai'Sa instantly, but Syndra still alive, couldn't be taken out by the Darius, didn't have the grievous wounds, didn't build the execution, or what's it called, multi-rule. The execution is calling, so it was unable to deny the healing from the Mundo, and was able to stay in that fight for so much longer. But it looks like Indooroopilly will force down the Nexus of Somerset and take this game, this series out in advance further on. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Mundo's going to try to end, but unfortunately I don't think he's going to be able to one order away. No, will they be able to finish it? Will Xayah going to actually get the kill here? Mundo basically 1v5 and she'll go down in the end. this game could hold on for just a bit longer.
Teleport coming in from Ornn though means it'll be... Oh, it's just so tanky, like just can't take him down, but just needs one auto on that Nexus, take it out. Somerset still fighting to stay in this game.
Look at this, Indooroopilly is really trying to hold it as Indooroopilly, almost getting the end. Ornn teleport wasted. One hit Nexus.
There's a mid inhibitor still available. The Nexus solo will actually heal up over time, but Indooroopilly, they've got the advantage. The next dragon's about to spawn, and Somerset cannot afford to contest because now the backdoor option is a real threat for Indooroopilly. If they just run in as a 5-man squad, I think Somerset won't be able to stop them all from hitting this Nexus, but it's one of those things, if you damage the Nexus, they can damage you. The CC from this team is available as well, and I thought it was over, but it's not. Somerset still stand 10k gold down. It's one of those games where they've got less than a 1% chance to win, but I mean, if they could pull it off and force this into a Game 3 series, this could be incredible. I wonder if there's I don't think there's a ward on their base, but right now that looks horrific. As Swain maybe getting caught out, and not only Swain, at least maybe in a fair bit of trouble here. Fail Flash coming out of Benarox. Now we get to see what kind of comes out here. This 4v2 comes out, last breath from Yasuo. Kaiser trying to get that killer instinct, trying to back away, getting a little bit of distance around them. Now unyielding from Alistar, that's really bad. NineGod gets a quick look at iTzSweeTz. The key carry down for Indooroopilly. And this is a bad 2-4-9 on the side of Somerset here. But it looks like Mundo may be trying to push in to get onto the fountain. Look at this, everyone from Somerset is backing to try to get on now. They want this Dragon Soul, but they just can't afford it. The Superman is pushing into the base, means daddied has to come back and defend against the Mundo, but he's too tanky. He can't take him out. He hasn't got the Grievous wounds to compete. As Somerset here, 2-man squad are unable to take that Dragon down.
Yeah, this is a bit interesting here. Now, we kind of see that Indooroopilly really split up their team comp there. Like, they gave away a kill on Mundo, but it looks like they will be able to secure the Dragon and prevent Soul going over for now.
Although maybe not. Lionroar's so low.
Yeah.
Lionroar's so low, and they just don't have the DPS. Somerset now rotating in. Attemptṳ natural Requiem coming in.
Oh, nice Scale of a Weak Lance trying to buy a bit more time. Ornn knockup comes in. There's the GLP to finish off the kill there. Actually, chadyou managed to secure a wind wall up there. Nice dodge of the whirlwind by Syndra, and it looks like they will manage to get the Dragon. This game is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Somerset just refusing to lay down and die, coming back once again. I mean, the problem is this 10k gold lead is still there, but the longer and longer this game goes, the less and less relevant it becomes. Yasuo, and now building towards a Guardian Angel means he'll have the extra sustainability to fight, but Yasuo has no lifesteal. That's what he really needs to sustain in these fights. He's at either Death Stance or Bloodthirst. We see, here we go, a push from Indooroopilly coming in, 2 tanks and the Kaiser trying to get to this tower.
What I would like to point out is both Yasuo and Elise are down. That is their main engage wombo combo from the Cocoon. Will we get to see them all kind of like push in for a moment? Syndra has teleport. I don't know why she isn't joining her team with the Ornn. Like, that could be the good chance to get that nice push and end the game with the numbers advantages they have.
Well, what's happening now is actually something that's a very common occurrence in low elo play. You've got this mid hit open and the Nexus is really low, and you want to go for your open Nexus and take it down, and you're trying to funnel through this mid lane, but you know, this Somerset lineup has enough wave clear to instantly delete this entire wave. Of course, Daddy's getting more and more fed, getting those items, is now caught up. 4 items himself has now been completed, and there's a lot of gold being funneled into Somerset. What Indooroopilly need to do is they need to, that mid lane's automatically going to push. Those supers are going to be a threat, and those supers will take out the Nexus by themselves. If they commit to pushing down the bot or top lane, they're going to draw Somerset's focus away, and they need all 5 members to match the Indooroopilly squad. And as a result, if they're unable to do that, the super minions will push into the base, and you're going to have to split their focus. But this Baron will go down instantly. It's going to be a huge step towards them ending the game, and it's going to take one big last fight to see if they can take it out.
Yeah, and this is where things get hectic. This is where they make it or break it replays. That Baron goes away entirely uncontested, and here it is. This is the potentially the climax of the series here, as Indooroopilly go for that hard 5-man push as a team.
Yeah, here we go. This the inhibitor, just respawns too, but will be taken down instantly by a team of Indooroopilly. You would assume Baron here on these minions, making them so much harder to clear out, and Somerset have to go for an engage soon, or have to take out these teams as the Nexus back to full health.
Nice combo from the outside. Lionroar takes down Natural Requiem straight away. iTzSweeTz just does so much damage. Nobody can stop him, and the entire line from Somerset just fall down. And I think that's going to be game. That is GG. As Indooroopilly take the series 2-0 over Somerset. This might be a little bit of an upset as they dive onto the fountain to get a couple more kills. And GG.
I mean, what a series, though. Somerset going down 0-2, but so valiantly, Somerset once again falling in the playoffs to... I mean, last year, Somerset did do very well. They came top 8 and lost to the eventual winners of Kelvin Grove, and maybe Indooroopilly with a performance like that, looking red hot coming into our finals. What a series between these two teams.
Absolutely. That was an amazing quarterfinals match to watch replays, and even though it was a 2-0 series, both games were this roller coaster, as I mentioned before, and during the first and second games. It was so exciting. We saw one team take the tempo, the other team takes it back, and we just see which one clawed for dominance, and Indooroopilly kind of had that stronger tug of war, and then they pulled it into their favor a little bit more often and a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and I think one of the unsung heroes of this series was lionroar in the mid lane for Indooroopilly. Didn't have a big carry performance in either game, but was just very consistent throughout this entire series on his Syndra. Was able to just provide so much AoE and CC and had fantastic scout of the weeks, constantly finding picks for his side, and I think was one of the crucial members why his team took out this series. And man, it's just such a back and forth game. Every member had their moment in the spotlight, and after two incredible games, Indooroopilly are in fact going to win this game and advance them to the next round. And what a quarterfinal that was!
Yeah, that was absolutely hectic. And I love games like that as much as they are insane back and forth. These are the best games to watch because you get to see everything that these teams can pull out. Even though Somerset lost, we got to see that they still managed to claw their way back in game 2. They almost managed to turn it around, and you know what? Even though Somerset will be a little bit dejected and sad about the performance, I think they can go forward with a lot to learn and maybe prepare for next season, and come with a little bit more into it. I think there's a lot of learning for both sides, but definitely good performance from both teams.
Yeah, I mean, and I would have to say probably the MVP of that second game, I'd have to give it to... I don't know, it's very difficult because every member on Indooroopilly played very well. I'd probably say chadyou for the early game was outstanding on the Ornn, and iTzSweeTz again with that late game carry coming through, but lionroar played very well as well. iTzSweeTz got caught out a little bit towards the end. I'd probably have to give the MVP for this game to lionroar, but I'd probably say the best player of this series would be iTzSweeTz.
I'll agree with you on that one. Unsung hero to me is the Last Dance. There were some really good Alistair engages, with the W combo. I saw 3-4 man knockups at the end that allowed iTzSweeTz to get all those stacks off. chadyou got the nice Call of a Forge good combo win with it. Dark Sphere into Scout of a Week. Just everything lined up perfectly, executed their team comp in the fights that they won. And that was the issue. When they failed to do that, they lost the fights. But they managed to do it just right enough times that they got the win. So I'll agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible series from both sides. 2-0 is probably not representative of how close these two teams actually were. And unfortunately, Somerset going down and will be knocked out of the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. Indooroopilly advancing to the semi-finals, I believe, next week. Oh, no, top 8, so quarterfinals next week. So not there just yet. Still a long way to go. And man, what an intense game. That could have very easily been the grand final.
Yeah, that could have been. I would have loved. That was a grand final worthy match, and I want to see the teams that go forwards give us more games like that, and even something maybe take this to a full series. That would be amazing.
Yeah, precisely. So, unfortunately, that is all the high school esports we have to bring to you guys tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully next week around 4 o'clock, we will bring you guys another fantastic match. We're getting down to the top 8 teams now, so getting quite to the pointy ends. You're going to see the best teams, the cream of the crop, rising to the top here and seeing it battle it out on the rift. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Good night.
Ciao.